And is here. The ultimate day of the Northern Football Netball League always brings us to Preston City Oval, a venue which quickly familiarises itself to us with all of its great qualities. Its reliable breeze, the tall red brick grandstand which does its best job to muffle out the sounds of the train line behind it, the Kramer's Hotel sign which glares prominently from the far wing, the small hills behind the goals, the deep wings of the playing surface and those lovely universal footy aromas, the sausages, onions, beer, dirt, liniments. It's everything you want on a Saturday in September. And the main event in the middle of it all is a heavyweight prize fight. The tail of the tape says West Preston Lakeside are the holders of the belts looking to defend the title, and they've peaked at the right time. In the other corner awaits Greensborough, the number one contender, who've been ablaze with the perfect balance of power, speed, finesse and synchronicity. One has the opportunity to be the first team to go back-to-back in a decade. The other looks to complete a near-perfect season. It's the Meadows Greyhounds Division 1 Grand Final, and it's live on your local station, 88.6 Plenty Valley FM. Hello, I'm Jordan Canellis. It's a pleasure to be with you. It's a pleasure to have you with us at Preston City Oval on the final Saturday of this NFNL season. The September colours are abound around Preston City Oval. Team colours, green, white, blue, navy blue as well of Bundoora, who you can hear down below as they celebrate a back-to-back reserves premiership. The weather turned warm in the last 48 hours. It was a bit muggy yesterday, but I think it's maybe eased the concerns, or initially eased the concerns of some of us who were looking at today's forecast a week out, and we saw a bit of rain. However, there was a bit of rain earlier today, although that's cleared up, and we've got great blue skies overhead, some clouds off in the distance. Hopefully it stays sunny and warm throughout the rest of today. Before I introduce the team, there are multiple ways that you can keep across the game today. If you're hearing my voice, it means you're listening to us on one of the many platforms that will be broadcasting to you this afternoon. 88.6 Plenty Valley FM is where we've always been for many years in the Northern Football Netball League. If you live in the northern suburbs within the range, you can tune your radio on the FM dial to 88.6, or if you're outside the range, pvfm.org.au is where you can go to listen to us in clear quality via the internets. Your best bet, though, is probably to head to Facebook, because we're streaming this game full with video coverage, multiple camera angles, commentary, score graphics and the lot. Facebook.com/Northern Football Netball League if you want to watch this game in its full package, and nfnl.org.au, the league's website, where you can go to keep up to date with the live scores, the team lists, and all of the broadcast details have been listed there. Our commentary team today, Samuel Zito is at ground level at the moment. He'll be with us in just a second, as will Jared Gardner, who will be upstairs in just a few minutes with his special comments. But firstly, I welcome Robert Winston to the coverage. Hello, Rob. How are you, mate?
Welcome, Jordan, and beautifully introduced there today, and it's magnificent to be here at Preston City Oval. As you said, the warm weather has set upon us. A little bit of rain earlier this morning during the reserves game just gone. Congratulations to Bundoora for defeating an undefeated Greensborough side in that reserves competition, but obviously we're here for the main game. It's going to be a huge contest. Greensborough v West Preston Lakeside. As you said, West Preston Lakeside, first side looking to go back-to-back this decade, and Greensborough have almost had the near-perfect season, only losing the one game by 2 points earlier this season. So, mate, it's going to be an enthralling contest. I'm excited. The crowd's building, and as you said, all your owners of footy, it's all happening here down at Preston City Oval.
The earlier results from today, as is always tradition in local footy, anywhere you go around the state, the country, the under-19s and the reserves took to the field earlier this morning. In the under-19s, it was Eltham who got up over St Mary's to win the under-19s Division 1 Premiership, 13-10-88 to 11-14-80, so an 8-point win for the Panthers over the Borough. And in the reserves, just a few minutes ago, it was Greensborough 2-11-23, an inaccurate Greensborough reserves, who were beaten by Bundoora 6-8-44, a 21-point win for the Bulls as they go back-to-back in the reserves. So not a good omen to start with for Greensborough, losing the reserves and being so inaccurate, but hopefully the seniors, for their sake, can put on a great performance today against a blistering West Preston Lakeside outfit. And we've got Jared Gardner on the boundary, who looks like he's joining us for the first time today. Jared? Not quite yet. We'll get to Jared later on. He'll be up in the commentary box in just a few minutes. Rob, before we get into the game discussion, let's have a quick chat about the events of midweek. The Rosbrook Medal Night at the MCG on Wednesday. Brilliant backdrop to the league's presentation night. We were sitting there, we were constantly turning our heads, looking at the empty MCG behind us. Great backdrop, and then the team of the year. But the Rosbrook, what an event on Wednesday.
Oh, it was an amazing event to have such a prestigious award of our Northern Football Netball League, and it was great to see the best netballers and the great footballers of our local competition, and just to see that on Wednesday night, the backdrop of the MCG, it was an empty stadium, but it was such a beautiful, humid night, and the lights, and it really gave you the real essence of what the MCG means to a lot of people. And I tell you what, just from my own personal experience, I was there with 94,000 fans last night, so the contrast between an empty stadium and a full stadium is obviously completely different, but just it was an amazing night. I'd like to say congratulations to Tom Bell of the Greensborough Footy Club. Well deserved. I've seen Greensborough play quite a few times this year. He won on the 23 votes over Gilmore from Heidelberg and also Justin White from McLeod. So it was a really close contest. They ended up polling 20 votes just behind Tommy Bell. But look, I'm sure he's really proud of that achievement, but I'm sure him and Greensborough will be looking to get the job done today here on Grand Final Day. Absolutely.
Always good when you can see the Rosbrook medalists play on the following Saturday, and that's what we've got today. Tom Bell, the former Brisbane and Carlton AFL footballer, winning the Division 1 League Best and Fairest. I think the main entertainment of the night came in the Division 2 count, though.
Oh, it was
Rob, the Best and Fairest. A three-way tie between Xavier Damasi from Whittlesea, Brett McCaffer from Eltham, the former Collingwood Premiership player, and the youngster from Banyule, Riley Lowton, who had a breakout season.
All tied on 14 votes apiece, and who would have foreseen that? And Xavier Damasi, what a year of Division 2 football that he's had. He come out here last Saturday, got the best on ground here at Preston City Oval in a 27-point victory to Whittlesea, gets the premiership, and then caps his week off by tying the league BNF. And that's really great thing, I think, for local football, the fact that you can have such an even competition. And really, even last week with the Banyule Whittlesea result, we really didn't know how it was going to go on the day. And really, to the last 10 minutes, there was only 3 points of difference, 46-49. And all kudos to Whittlesea getting up in that one and kicking the last 4 goals. And we're just blessed to have such an even competition, and obviously even with Division 3 as well.
The umpires have made their way out onto Preston City Oval. Our 3 central umpires today, Chris Stead, Nathan Thornycroft and Andrew O'Neill. It was a great night for Greensborough as well at the Rosbrook Medal Night. Not only did they have Tom Bell win, but Chris Clark, their captain, came 4th. Charlie Molyneux came 2nd in the coaches' MVP, and Mick Harford was the coach of the year. As we always do every year at the NFNL Division 1 Grand Final, Mike Brady, we have the great privilege of having the great anthem singer of AFL football.
Inclusive it is. It's called How Australians That. Now I've often sat and wondered what makes us who we are. It's a question that's been asked before. Some say it's a mystery, but this man was all this time. Well, I've gradually come around to think it's more. See, we love our footy, but it's more than that to us. And I believe it makes us what we are today. The magic and moments that draw us one and all. It's all there in this Aussie game we play. You see, it's not where you come from or where you got your start. It's not the colour of your skin that makes you stand apart. From Darwin down to Dubbo, from Cairns to Ballarat, we show our footy colours and how Australians that. Could be a few kids in a paddock or a final at the G. There's something about this game that says it's ours. It's talked about and squawked about and talked about some more. And the bush and in the city's lofty towers. You see, it's not where you come from or where you got your start. It's not about how much you got that makes you stand apart. From TV down to Tassie, from Broome to Aramac, we wear our colours on our sleeve. And how Australians that? How Australians that? This footy that we play. How Australians that? Let me hear you say. It's about who you barrack for and the number on your back. This game is for everyone, and how Australians that? Now if I had a crystal ball, I wonder what we'd see. Maybe the whole world kicking shells, what a sight. Especially out of Africa, a global footy league. It doesn't hurt to dream of what just might. You see, it's not where you come from or how you spell your name. It's how you show your colours and how you play the game. You can wear them on your old grey coat or even on your hats. We're going to the footy and how Australians act. You see, it's not where you come from, where you got to start. It's not about what you got, makes you stand apart. From Albany to Albury, from Cruz to Open Flat, this game is for everyone, and how Australians that? Oh, this game is for everyone, and how Australians that? How Australians that?
Thank you. We'll finish on now because we've got a good game coming up. I used to live in Greensborough, but I'm not saying that's an omen. But for many years I did. It's called, well, you know this song, and I want you to sing along to give the boys a bit of a lift, because it's cold out here. No, it's not. Here you go. My superannuation. 1, 2.
Soundtrack to today, the Northern Football Netball League Senior Division 1 Grand Final at Preston City Oval. Jordan Canellis with you, Robert Winston's alongside me. We'll have Jared Gardner and Samuel Zito with us in a second as the teams complete their warm-ups, and we'll have the national anthem and the coin toss in just a second. Rob, let's have a quick deep dive of this game.
Yep.
Greensborough, we've witnessed one of the best seasons of this era, 17-1, which is the best any team has gone in 10 years since Heidelberg were undefeated in 2009. They've always been one of the best defensive teams, but this season they've added to their attack. What do you like about Greensborough?
Well, look, there's plenty to like about Greensborough, but in a nutshell, I think their midfield, Bell and Molyneux, I think if those two hard nugget midfielders can get on top, I can see Greensborough winning this game by a lot. I think the big matchup today for mine, if Nick Riddle goes to Ahmed Saad, who obviously will be playing full forward, I think that's going to be a huge matchup in the context of this game. You feel if Nick Riddle can get the job done on Ahmed Saad and really sway his influence on the game, as we saw last year, last week, he kicked 2 really early goals, which set the ascendancy for West Preston, and you feel like that's going to be a huge matchup in the context of this game. So, stars all over the park. Look, I mean, as you said, you mentioned 6 players are from the 2014 side for Greensborough, so they'll be looking to really, as they come towards the end of their careers, get that second premiership on the board. But look, for mine, it's got to be Greensborough.
We'll analyse West Preston Lakeside in a second, but they line up along the centre square.
The Northern Football Netball
Time for the national anthem.
Welcome you to Preston City Oval for the 2019 Meadows Greyhounds Division 1 Grand Final between Greensborough and West Preston Lakeside. We ask all spectators to please join the players, coaches and umpires and be upstanding for the Australian National Anthem to be performed by Paige Hopkins.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. his gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing. Advance Australia fair.
Regardless of how big or small the number in attendance, those final words, those final notes of the anthem, followed by that roar, signals it's footy finals time. And today it's a grand final. Greensborough and West Preston Lakeside. Robert Winston alongside myself, Jordan Canellis, Jared Gardner will be with us in a tick, and Samuel Zito as well, your call team this Saturday afternoon, the final day of the 2019 NFNL season. Robert, we spoke about Greensborough a few moments ago. West Preston Lakeside, though, they've got the chance today to do what no side has been able to do since about a decade ago and go back-to-back, defend your premiership. They won it last year against McLeod, but this time they can do it against Greensborough. They had a sluggish start to the season. We thought they might have been relegated, 0-6, and here they are, grand final day.
Look, it's just an amazing turn of events. They've, as you said, they're bottom of the ladder. The coach, Rob Majorana, has turned their fortunes around, and they've been well deserved. They've been, as I said last week, probably the best side of the last 10 weeks, with Greensborough obviously being the most consistently best side throughout the year. So you've got the reigning premier v the best side of the year, and really it's both sides are coming into great form.
And Rob Majorana, the West Preston Lakeside head coach, he pulled a fast one on us. He didn't name Oscar Usul in the team during the week. He was out with a 3-week suspension. He was eligible for today, not named in the initial 22, but he comes in as a late change from what was named on the website during the week for Daniel Valeri, which means they get two of their absolute top-line midfielders back into the team today, Matt Signorello, Oscar Usul. How does this change the outfit?
Well, I think from what I saw as Signorello earlier on in the year, I think obviously he's a class on baller, and just the fact that he can bring that silk through the middle. He probably play on a wing. You can even throw him up forward. He's got a booming right kick on him, so it's a huge in. But for mine today, I think Greensborough are going to win this game, but honestly, it's a bit of a flip of the coin at the moment.
We welcome Samuel Zito into the commentary box. He's done the mad dash up from the emceeing duties at ground level. Jared Gardner here as well. Samuel, your thoughts as the players make their way out into position?
My first thought is no, I mean, grassroots footy or not, there's no better place to be than the 10 minutes before a grand final. I shouldn't say the nervousness, just the energy out in the ground from everyone, players, coaches, spectators. It is electric out there, and you wouldn't know if you're at the MCG or at Preston City Oval. It is an amazing atmosphere. Two great sides. It feels a bit like the heavyweight title here, isn't it? You've got the title holder being West Preston Lakeside coming up against the contender in Greensborough. And given the way Greensborough played this year, you could argue that the roles are reversed. Greensborough's been the side that's been best all year against West Preston Lakeside, who's come from the clouds late in the campaign to reach a second consecutive grand final. Sides are moving into position. It's going to be West Preston to the city end. That will be the scoring end today. It's a significant breeze we've seen throughout the course of the afternoon. And Jordan, as we expected, Nick Riddle goes straight to Ahmed Saad. That is the matchup that's worth admission today.
Absolutely, yeah. Ahmed Saad, leading goal scorer this season. 89 goals. Nick Riddle, ex-captain, one of the best defenders in local footy. Let's rumble. We are underway in the Division 1 Grand Final for 2019. It was a neutral hit out in the middle at Preston City Oval. Here's the Rosbrook medalist, Tom Bell, with hands to it, but he's swamped in a double tackle, and the ball's only moved 5 metres away from the centre square. Our three umpires today, Chris Stead, Nathan Thornycroft and Andrew O'Neill. Quick secondary ball up. Reed wins it down. Going crashing through was Federico for West Preston. Chris Clark, the captain's in there as well. Jared Gardner's in the commentary box. Samuel Zito.
Yeah, it's good to be here, guys. Happy to be here at Division 1 Grand Final Day. Just a few matchups early on. Riddle, as we mentioned, go to Ahmed Saad, and it's Dan McClendon, who's gone to Aidan Tilley, who's been a good contributor for West Preston so far this final series.
As Bell tried to charge through, he was dispossessed. Did hit his head heavily on the turf there. Gets to his feet, of course, the Frank Rosbrook medalist of 2019, Tom Bell, but it's Reed against Harmon. Harmon wins it down. At the bottom, that was Clark. He stripped it but couldn't take possession of the ball. Now a chance for Reed to go again. He couldn't take it out cleanly.
lots of numbers around the footy early on, as you'd expect in a grand final. That stacks on the mill, and somehow Molyneux got it out to Desmond, who loops a handball wide. It's a foot race now. Matty Haynes leads the way, chisels the ball inside. McNamara was by himself. The ruckman did well to get to his shoelaces there, shoveled a handball to Bell, who in turn got it out to Desmond. He couldn't take it cleanly. Then Federico releases Garrett McDonough.
McDonough's on the outer side, a high kick towards centre half forward, off hands, releasing handball to Sard. The crowd rises. Sard drives it. Sard drives home the first goal of the day. It just had to be him. Ahmed Sard somehow got loose at centre half forward, and he pierced the goals from 40 metres.
And that was nothing that Nick Riddle did wrong in that situation. The ball just bounced luckily, and Sard was the first one to react and got on the end of a handball from Signorello. Just one of those other matchups in the West Preston forward line. Signorello obviously has been played a lot of VFL footy with Port Melbourne this year. Comes in today, and I thought he might be on ball, but Jack Johnston's gone to him for Greensborough, and that's a big matchup, because I think Jack Johnston does his best work when he's a loose behind the ball, so if they make him accountable, it'll go a long way to winning this game.
So it's the Roosters on the board first through Ahmed Sard. After 2 minutes, they are 6. Greensborough haven't scored, and they're going forward once again here. Federico shovels a ball towards the 50-metre arc. Sard, smart tap over the top to Signorello. Can he open up here? Gets around Johnston, handballs inboard. Usul tried to break the tackle, couldn't get through, and the umpire is going to call for the football 30 metres out from the West Preston goal. Big tackle there from Dan McClendon, but the Roosters look on early.
Could have taken that shot. Signorello wanted the handball, didn't want to go with the right foot. It's in the West Preston forward 50. It's one down by Reid from the ruck. Bell has to lurch upwards to try and bring down a bouncing footy, and he's got 3 players again enveloping him in a tackle. So the umpire will come in and throw it up about 35 metres from home here for West Preston. They lead by a goal. Out the back, the tap from Harmon went to Molyneux, who gets the clearing kick away. Fennell's got a fresh haircut on the wing, and he was dumped unfairly by Nathan Valladares.
Seen a lot of that, a few fresh haircuts throughout this final series, and Fennell's joined the club.
Don't know about that one. He's got the short side shaved.
He's got the he's grabbing at the right shoulder there. It is taped up. He's taking the kick, but he did grab at that as he hit the ground.
It's a high kick from Fennell, holds up in the Preston City Oval breeze. It drops straight down on the wing. One down by McDonald, handball from Clark, and now here's McDonough through centre half back. A long kick, a wobbling kick inside the forward 50. It was well dealt with by Nick Riddle, who got a slapping fist to it, and the ball bounces over half forward in the West Preston forward line.
Superb by Riddle there, but the one thing that Greensborough has to be mindful of here is Garrett McDonough. He's a thumping kick. With this wind, he can kick the ball just about 70 metres. That's twice he's got on the outside and thumped it long. The first one led to the goal. The second time around, Riddle was up to the task.
West Preston Lakeside kicking to the city end, Greensborough to the Preston Market end, the Kramer Street end. Ball thrown in, it's come loose here. Usul has the swinging shot at goal, and he has converted from the left forward pockets. It's Alex Federico, mind you, who's taken it in the left forward pocket, and West Preston Lakeside go to 2 straight 12 after 4 minutes in the first term, and that was a quick breaking goal from the stoppage in the forward 50.
They're just winning the ball at the coalface, aren't they, West Preston, in the early part of the game. We saw them get a clean centre break a few moments ago, which didn't lead to the goal, but Signorello had the chance to shoot, and that time again it was Federico, who I was going to say in the opening minute or two that led to the goal when McDonough got it forward. He was the one that was clean when everyone else was fumbling, shoved at the hand pass. He's made a fantastic start here, young Alex Federico. As the ball now back in the middle of the ground, Harmon won the tap down, Reid goes in, got the ball, now he's wrapped up in a tackle, and the umpire is going to call for it. James Tadd obviously generally gets a tagging role early on. Looks like he might be the one actually on John Desmond at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on him.
Ball thrown up in the centre circle. Harmon bats it down for West Preston Lakeside. Big job for him today, filling in for the Mark Kovacevic, who was the best on ground last year. It's a high ball to the wing. LaRossi leads the race, and he gets bundled out of play. The ball never quite sat up right for him, and it goes out for a throw-in on the wing underneath the grandstand.
I think what's been interesting so far is in those clearances, in those centre stoppages, Greensborough have been getting first hands to the ball, but they haven't been able to release a handball and get forward, whereas West Preston, they have those runners and be able to go forward really easily.
So it's thrown in now. From behind, Reid tapped it down again. It's that man, Federico. Hammers the ball inside forward 50. A great spoil by Riddle, but Sard's quick to react here, and McDonough lurks dangerously. Riddle went in again. Now Haynes for support. He takes the ball. He's got some space. He hammers it on the boot to the one-on-one. It's Stellis up against Jackson Clark. The ball gets to the back. Clark paddles towards the boundary line. Can't take it cleanly. Molyneux shovels a handball underground. He'll get it back here. Charlie Molyneux. And now he puts the ball towards the forward 50, hits the deck, and it's the Roosters with numbers. Tad, handball had too much on it. Socket across the 50, that was by McCubbin, and now leading the race to the footy is Callaway. He is a left foot kick here, Callaway. He's going to poke a ball to about 20 from goal. It's a great kick, but a superb spoil. The ball hits the deck. Clark gets in low for Greensborough. A soccer off the ground haphazardly, gets to about defensive 50. Molyneux again, hands and knees, got it onto Desmond, shovels off to Haynes. Can he load up? No, he's going to chip into the pocket. Not his best effort. Will it stay in play at will? Dreyer picks up the footy. He's tackled by Stullis, and it's a tough footy to win here in the opening stages, but it's the Roosters with the opening 2 goals. West Preston, 2 goals straight, 12. Greensborough yet to score, 6 minutes played, first term.
It was a shoddy inside 50 entrance from Matthew Haynes, which is why we've got this stoppage now in the forward pocket. Ball thrown up, hasn't quite come clear yet. Tynan Smith was there, and he has copped a high tackle there from Nathan Kemp, who got him over the shoulder. And so Tynan Smith, who's been able to, I guess, warm up in the VFL for this game today. He's been part of the Essendon VFL side. He's played a couple of games, scored a handful of goals, and now he's back into the team and ready to take the first shot in with meaning for Greensborough today from that forward pocket.
Any goal to the market end is worth, if not 2, well then 3 goals. It's blowing quite heavily to the city end. These are worth their weight in gold.
He missed round 15 through to 18 with those VFL commitments. Back for the finals. Right-footed kick is swinging away from goal, goes right across the face, and is punched out of play in that left forward pocket. So still inside the forward 50. No score to Greensborough so far, but a throw in.
Interesting decision to go the double fist over the boundary line from John McDonald. I reckon they were 4-on-1 West Preston. They could have cleared that really easily.
Ball thrown in that forward pocket. High in the air, Clark tries to bat it down sideways for West Preston. It's hit the deck. Valadares is on top, and it's going to be a hard footy to try and get out of the clinches today in the Division 1 Grand Final, Northern Football Netball League. Live on your local station, 88.6 Plenty Valley FM, and streaming live on Facebook.
So the ball now thrown up inside forward 50 for Greensborough. No one could shark it first time around. Hands and knees was Tad, taken by Molyneux. Snap towards goal. How will it bounce? It's there for a goal. And Charlie Molyneux, with an important response for Greensborough, gets his side on the board. They move to 1 goal, straight 6. West Preston Lakeside, 2 goals straight, 12, and that'll certainly settle some nerves for the Greensborough Footy Club.
Yeah, definitely. As you said, the goals to the Preston Market end of the ground, worth their weight in gold, and probably, if not worth 2, worth 3, as you said earlier. So a great snap from Charlie Molyneux. He was my pick for best on ground today, and a good early goal for him, and a confidence booster for Greensborough. They've just settled or weathered that storm that West Preston were producing in the first few minutes.
So 1 straight Greensborough to 2 straight West Preston Lakeside, and they'll get the clearance as well here, Greensborough. It's Fennell who wins it. A handball backwards to Cataldo, and he goes sideways with a kick to find Croxford at right half back, who slows the pace down for the first time today. It's been a high intensity game through the first 9 minutes, with plenty of players around stoppages trying to lock the ball in and then break forward, but a slow down in play. Ball thrown in on the outer side and kicked long down towards half forward for West Preston. Signorello was there. The ball just stayed in. Cataldo has it. Molyneux retrieves it. He reels it in on the boundary, then scoots clear and kicks towards the wing. Bounces out in front of Desmond, who gets a sloppy handball away to Croxford, but he ran onto it well. Now to Islands. He directs the ball back inside. All this happening on the wing. Callaway was felled, and a 50 as well.
This is huge.
And so Callaway will be put within goal-scoring range here. The mark will be about 30 metres out from goal. And Callaway, one of the 6 players from the 2014 flag, can level things up here 9.5 minutes in.
It's a really good kick, Callaway, and as you said, he's a veteran of this team, played in the 2014 flag, and it's a good chance to kick this one.
So Callaway in the long sleeves. Just the one VFL game in the VFL with the Northern Blues at this venue. The slow approach to level things up halfway through the first quarter. Right foot kick, holds up a little bit and holds its line well. And Greensborough level. It's 2 straight apiece. We've gone 10 minutes on the dot through the first quarter. Callaway's got a goal. Molyneux has a goal for Greensborough, and Sard and Federico for West Preston.
On a day like today, when goals are going to be hard to come by at that end of the ground, you just can't afford to have any indiscipline acts, can you? And Callaway made the full advantage of that one there. He kicked through the footy, gets the goal, and Greensborough now just feel like they're right back in the game after really in the first 5 minutes being thoroughly outplayed. So it's all level on the scoreboard as McNamara goes into the ruck, this time against Harmon. Clark picked it up for Greensborough, got a ball towards the centre circle there. Zakua did well, edged his man out the way, but his kick wasn't great. It falls to Desmond. Now Desmond just pushed as he kicked it. Dreyer went searching for the football. He couldn't pick it up. A chance here for the Roosters to get off their defensive line, but some good coverage there from Greensborough. Good tackling pressure, and the ball's locked up at centre half forward with Greensborough kicking to the Preston market end. We've gone just shy of 11 minutes, first term here of the 2019 Meadows Greyhounds Division 1 Grand Final, and it's all locked up at 12 apiece here. McNamara won it down, then went again. He was caught in a two-man tackle, one of those men, Michael Marotta, and we'll have another ball up at centre half forward for the Borough.
West Preston midfield looks so much stronger now with Signorello and Usulim to complement Larossi, Ercolano, Marotta, who are there as well. The ball bounces through the centre square, only moves about 5 metres before another stoppage. 2 straight apiece. 11 minutes into the first quarter on Plenty Valley FM and streaming this game live on Facebook. Ball thrown back up, a sloppy tap out the side. Larossi toe pokes it to the wing for West Preston Lakeside. They've got 2 runners to get there first. Tobin laboured on it, and Greensborough swarm. It's Bedford who works out a handball. It comes out to the player in McIver Clark, who kicks long to the forward 50, but McDonald flew from the side and takes a nice mark, ghosting in from the right half-back flank. The ex-captain for West Preston Lakeside steadies the ship. He goes backwards to Robertella, who's had a great final series for the Roosters. He exits out the far side to Dreer, who's had a good season so far as well. That handball, though, was not so good. To the feet of Kemp. And now Greensborough coming through Cataldo. Molyneux's handball shut down. It's tough stuff across centre half forward here for Greensborough. And they've given away a free kick. It'll be Harmon's for West Preston Lakeside.
And he handballs to Clark, who scuffed his kick towards half-back. He's fortunate. He's got a 2-on-1, though, on the far side. And now Mitch Tobin picks up the ball. Had a bit of a run and kicks towards half forward. Johnston couldn't take the mark for Greensborough. It hits the deck. Johnston goes in again. He's wrapped up by Signorello, also by Vincitorio. And we're going to have a ball up 50 out from the West Preston Lakeside goal. Kicked the first 2 through Sard and Federico. Greensborough has responded via Molyneux and Callaway. Harmon got in high over McNamara. Now the ball hits the deck again, and the umpire calls for the footy. So it's a red-hot start as you'd expect in a grand final. Yet we've seen 4 goals in the opening 10 minutes, which I can't say we've seen in recent years.
Clouds have come over Preston City Oval, but the sunshine still pokes through prominently. It's a wobbly kick out of the pack. It goes inside the forward line here for West Preston, but Johnston swoops onto it. Not a great kick, clearing defensive 50. It's into the square. McIver Clark finds Johnston again, who came bouncing through the corridor. A kick which is spread out wide to half forward, and it's been marked by Bell. The Rosbrook medalist gets a warm round of applause. He chips forward and finds McIver Clark, who ran on to the edge of 50. And now he slows the play as he waits for options to present themselves. And the kick, not so good, cut off. And here goes Robortolo.
And now the Roosters can move off half-back. He's kicked to the wing. Well, it wasn't great, but the Greensborough men, they mucked each other up there. That was Bedford and also Molyneux. The ball comes out now. Tilley hasn't played a loss this year. He's wrapped up in a big tackle, and the umpire says he had prior opportunity, and it's a free kick Greensborough's way. It's coming to their skipper in Chris Clark, who's been good early. Clark, hard-nosed player, only knows one way. Run or top 5 in this year's Rosbrook medal voting. Kicks towards half forward. Stellis will be the target. No one really flew for Greensborough, and ghosting in for the mark at the back of the pack is Jackson Clark.
Those key defenders have been good early on. McDonald and Clark have taken the intercept marks, but the kick not so good. Molyneux, he cut off the kick and then wanted the high free and the 50, but didn't come his way. Now told to play on. Has to go quickly. He finds a man wide at left half forward in Ben Fennell. Well, he didn't get what he wanted, Charlie Molyneux, but he still made it work, and he's found Fennell, who comes in today with history behind him. Greensborough has been in the family for almost 100 years. Almost a week and a year to the day he joined Greensborough, and now Ben Fennell can score in a grand final. Right foot kick, it won't score, it'll fade out to the right, it drops in the pocket, bounces along the boundary and goes out of play.
I think it's on the full there, the umpire's called. It's interesting for West Preston because at the moment, Greensborough has the momentum. When that generally happens, you want to play possession footy, just keep the ball away. But at the moment, they've got the breeze, so they have to take the game on, and that is a superb kick through the middle by McDonough. Opened up Crapper, and they have a switch on here as Valadares, well, he left it for Zakua, who then played on straight away. He's going to spot Larossi, who just couldn't reach that ball over his head. He'll go again here. He goes high, maybe got one there from Cataldo. Allowed to go on. but he's a tough player, isn't he, Luke LaRossi? He knows no other way, and he gets straight back to his feet. But as we say, maybe a bit unfortunate to not win a free kick on that occasion.
Yeah, definitely. He just underestimated that kick. The kick went over his head and just copped a bump from Panham. But he's a hard nut, is Luke Rossi.
How's some of the usage early by Garrett McDonough? His kicking is absolutely exemplary as the ball slapped forward by Tad. We've got a foot race. Marotta leads it. Can he get a foot to ball? He did, but he was impacted as he kicked, and it rolls through for a minor score. And with that, West Preston Lakeside takes back the lead. They are 2-1-13. Greensborough 2 goals straight 12. We've played just shy of 16 minutes in the opening term.
So Johnston with the kick out from full back. His red boots thump it long towards right half back, and flying up was Tynan Smith, who had it on the palms but dropped it. It's actually gone out of bounds on the full, so it'll be West Preston Lakeside's footy at left half forward. 2 kicks from home. The driving kick, well, it was smothered off the boot initially, and it's gone out of play, I think. Who was that? Might have been Aidan Tilley with that kick. In fact, it was James Tad coming in. Didn't even reach the 50, so it'll be a throw-in with the scores at 2 straight 12 Greensborough to 2-1-13 West Preston Lakeside. 16 and a half minutes gone in the first term.
And Dan McClendon just playing as a loose man in defence at the moment for Greensborough, just about 30 metres off this footy. So Reid did well in the ruck, shuffled out a hand pass, but it's going to come back in from West Preston Lakeside. The ball goes to about 50 from home. Croxford couldn't mark. Handball comes into the pocket to Tad. Well, he went to handball over the top, but it was shut down by Nick Riddle, and we'll have a throw-in 35 metres out from the West Preston goal.
Just on that Dan McClendon one, he's obviously been playing on Aidan Tilley early in this one. Now that Tilley's gone into the ruck as that rotation for Matt Harmon, McClendon hasn't got an opponent. It's also interesting that when Tilley does go into the ruck, he's now facing Liam Reid. Jake McNamara is obviously a ruckman for Greensborough as well, so interesting to see if they can win that contest there.
Ireland had the footy. He was pushed off it though. Marotta went up in the air, almost tunnelled there, Michael Marotta. Ireland puts his head back into play, and the umpire will call for it at left half forward here for West Preston Lakeside. We've gone 17 and a half minutes so far. They've just struggled in the last couple of minutes to move the ball forward quickly, West Preston. Only Garrett McDonough has been that player who can really break the lines of Greensborough as it goes back up to the wing. So conceding ground here, the Roosters, and conceding possession as well. NFNL came spinning through the pack and took possession, but he lost it as well. And now it's bouncing around the wings. Here goes Stellis, back to Fennell. Handball's out wide to McIver Clark, who ropes it in with one hand. It was a shoddy bounce, but came back up to him eventually. A second bounce inside 50. He works it onto the left. He dribbles in inside the forward line. Crapper's there. He shrugs offline and clears defensive lines, but it's been cut off again. Ben Fennell's been everywhere, picking everything off. Handball's into Molyneux, who kicks it long to left half forward. He spread it out to the sides, and it's a good kick, which has found Haynes.
And now Haynes, we've seen every high ball just hold up, but he's still going to put some air into this one here. Won't quite have the carry. Can anyone fly for it? It hits the deck at the back of the pack. Tilley scooped it over the top, but the ball's still in dispute here. 30 out from the Greensborough goal. It was really well done there on the last line of the fence by the Roosters. And now Marotta has to go in again. He's too slow. He's caught in the tackle. Umpire said he got a hand pass out. West Preston now a thumping kick towards half-back over Crapper's head. It comes to Desmond. Desmond, he was composed, lowered the eyes and got it off to McIver Clark, who's too far out to score here, about 60 from home. One of the new recruits to this Greensborough side in season 2019. Gets on the left boot now, just sits the footy up. Can he find a mark? No, the ball slapped towards the boundary line. Tickle lurks dangerously. He kept it in. He somehow gets boot the ball from the pocket, goes right to the top of the square, spoiled away, and the Roosters, well, they had numbers at ground level, but they're content to rush it behind, and the game is back to all square now, 19 minutes into the first term. Greensborough 2-1-13, West Preston Lakeside 2-1-13, with the ball to be brought back into play by none other than Garrett McDonough.
Well, as of the 10-minute mark, it's been hard to score. We've played another 10 minutes since and haven't had a goal. Josh Callaway's goal on the 10th minute was the last one we had to level the game, and the kick out of fullback only just reached Federico for the Roosters. Finds a handball around the outsides, bouncing through Costanzo. His kick hugs the boundary. It just finds LaRossi, who takes the chest mark on the wing. He eyes immediately inboard and finds Marotta, who juggles it twice and holds the mark. just forward of centre wing. Marotta going slowly here but deliberately to find Ahmed Saad in the pocket. The kick was just a bit too heavy. Bounced once and went out of play.
He had to kick it wide there because Saad was the only man inside 50. Greensborough had 3 men set up through the corridor. Saad led to the pocket. In the end, not a bad result for West Preston Lakeside to have a throw in here in a dangerous position as we tick into time on of this first term. We're going to cross the ground level shortly to Robert Winston just to get an update on conditions. But here the ball's to be thrown in. 20 out from the West Preston goal. Reed got it down only as far as Usul. Kicked it straight up in the air. You can hear the umpire play on as Molyneux kicks the ball towards the boundary line. Haynes is going to lead the foot race. He's been good early, Haynes. Used his body there, but then he went to ground. Managed to still get a hand on the footy and then win it himself, Matthew Haynes. Inspiring stuff there. Got it off to Riddle, and now they're moving through Desmond. Loops one over the top, and the Borough have numbers on the outside. Desmond gets a handball back, but it was hot and heavy. He managed to control it though. Shoveled one over his head to Molyneux, and now Molyneux chips to Stellis on centre wing. Just has to hold things up now with nothing on up ahead, but that's a big win for the Borough. And now he chips over to Molyneux, who's continued his run from half back. He runs to 50. He's kept it in play. Chips to the goal square. Bell's the man there, kept his ground, and it's a free kick for too high, and it's a Greensborough footy, it looks to be, to Tom Bell, about 10 metres out from goal. And that ball there, guys, you can put it down to 3 men, you would have thought. Matty Haynes on the back flank, and then the run and carry provided by John Desmond and also by Charlie Molyneux to keep that footy going. Tom Bell to line up from point blank range.
It's just exactly what you want when you're kicking into the wind. You just want to run the ball and get the ball down low and hard through the ground and through those wings. And Charlie Molyneux's gut run from half back to half forward there, absolutely amazing.
So Tom Bell won the Frank Rosbrook medal on Wednesday to put Greensborough in front for the first time in the grand final. He comes in and he's put it straight through the middle. And Greensborough leads for the first time in the 2019 Meadows Greyhounds Division 1 decider. They move to 3 goals, 1-19. West Preston Lakeside 2-1-13. And after looking in trouble in the opening 5 minutes, the minor premier have responded with 3 consecutive goals as we cross the ground level to Rob Winston. Rob, just an update on the conditions and the way the wind is blowing in this first term.
Yeah, g'day boys. It's certainly obviously favouring the city end. At this stage, you would say that Greensborough is well on top. Kicking down to that market end is very hard. The fact that they've kicked 3 goals, 1, and they're up in these early stages, quite huge. And just an update on some matchups. Tom Bell is really getting closely held by Alex Federico, so that's certainly a match to watch within the middle and also up forward.
So Bell's just come off there, just looking at an ankle as well. We'll keep an eye on that one.
Harmon won the tap. Federico to Zakua, the clearance player around the back of the square. It's a high kick towards half forward. Chasing it down and shrugging a tackle was Signorello. He runs into a dead end in the shape of Desmond, who did very well to pressure the kick. And Signorello's kick goes wide and just bounces in the field of play to be thrown in about 30 metres around from the West Preston goal.
So the ball now about, as Jordan said, 30 out from the West Preston goal, but you just feel they need one before quarter time here. They're trailing by 6 points, kicking with the aid of a breeze here as the ball got at the back. Riddle picked it up, handball towards Cataldo, had to be strong over the ball. Usul did well, but it fell to Bedford, who just threw it on the boot straight into the middle of the ground there. And it was slapped forward by Jackson Clark, and now it spills out. Urcolano backtracks to his co-captain in Valadares, caught in a tackle, turned it over, and now Matthew Haynes has no one between him and goal. 2 bounces. He can run all the way to the square here. He has a third, and Matthew Haynes kicks one of the great running goals we've seen in the Northern Football Netball League. Took the ball from the defensive side of the centre square, and he really made Nathan Valadares pay for that errant hand pass. And Greensborough have 4 consecutive goals and lead by 12 points. 4-1-25 the Borough. West Preston Lakeside 2-1-13. And a bit of Jaron Murphy about that from the superstar from Greensborough, and Matty Haynes, who's arguably been the best player on the ground in the opening few minutes.
Yeah, and he comes to the bench getting applause from the fans and pats from his teammates, because that is just an amazing effort to just back yourself in and just go.
Well,
How quick was he as
yeah.
well?
He is lightning, but there was just no one between him and the goals. As soon as he got that ball, the eyes had to light up as they did, and he converts.
A short clearance from Clark is turned over by Madonna, who kicks high to half forward. Saad is lurking. Riddle had hands to it first, but dropped the mark. Saad's still there. Riddle dives over the footy and gets it, but his handball is wayward. Saad accidentally toe-poked it away from himself and then gets swamped on There's 4 players in the tackle. The umpire will ball it up in the forward 50 for the Roosters.
Just after that goal from Matty Haynes, Urkelano for West Preston came off with the trainer, so might just get Rob to have a look at that one and make sure he's okay.
So that'd be a real concern for West Preston. Urkelano, one of their stars over the past 18 months, but they're going forward here as Signorello throws it on the boot. McNamara falls to ground level. Ball hangs in the balance here at the moment, and no one can take a clean disposal as well. The ball up 40 metres out from the West Preston Lakeside goal, who haven't scored or kicked the goal since the 4-minute mark of the term. Have now gone 25 in this first quarter. McNamara won that tap down towards the boundary line. It's kept alive, ball in dispute, but it's Greensborough with the numbers, and it's Fennell head over the footy. May have got a high one, allowed to go on. Clark picked it up and now spread a ball across the ground, but reading it best was Jackson Clark. He marks on his chest over the top of Jacob Island, and now gets the hurry along from the umpires at centre wing. Measure the ball inside, there was no one home, and he put it straight on the chest of Ben Fennell, who wants to move it quickly, but it's not his best kick.
Not his best kick at all. McCubbin had to work hard for it. He affected the contest, and Bedford was there to lend a helping hand. He kicks long up the edge of the square, and a courageous mark.
That's
getting
superb.
back. That is magnificent.
Costanzo, that is.
The mark on the wing jammed between 2 Greensborough players, and he keeps possession here for West Preston. He swings the kick out wide to Valadares, who marks out in front of his eyes on the wing as the shadows sweep across the ground at Preston City Oval. Underneath the grandstand, he kicks long to the 50. Underneath it, Sard wanted to leap for it, but he couldn't. Mistimed the drop of the ball. Signorello around the corner in the pocket. His kick was smothered. It's gone out of play. It'll be a boundary throw-in. And this has been a game where we've seen a 4-goal swing. West Preston scored the first 2 within the first 4 minutes, and then since then, Greensborough have been getting on top in the contest, and they've scored 4 straight goals to lead by 2 kicks.
So we're into the depths of the final moments of this first term as McNamara rove that ball from the throw-in, got it out to defensive 50. Tickle kept it in front, and he went back and got it off to Bell, who threw that ball on the boot. It goes up to centre wing. Ireland had his back to the ball. It should be a free kick against him, and Drea's going to get it just forward of centre. And Max Dreyer now 3 consecutive best on ground performances in the last 3 home and away games. An amazing effort by this young man in his first senior grand final. Sends a ball long inside 50. Tilley went one-handed there. Ball came to the back. McClendon should trap this one first. If he can take it cleanly, he can. The boundary line's his ally here, and we'll have a throw in about 10 metres out from the West Preston goal. Quickly back to Robert Winston. We might wait on Rob. We'll go back to him in a few moments' time. But Rob, we got you quickly.
Yeah, Urkelano, mate, he's caught one to the back of the head, and it looks like he's getting stitches from the trainer, so he'll be off at least until quarter time, but it's there's heavy gushes of blood coming from the back of his head, so certainly one to watch.
Thanks for that, Robert Winston. Great update there from the boundary line, but hopefully everything okay with Michael Urkelano.
So not far away from quarter time, 27.5 minutes in this first quarter. They are packing in tight at Preston City Oval. Everyone here to see the showpiece event of the NFNL. McNamara from the ruck, hands out the back on the defensive goal line. Jack Johnston tries to zoom away. It's McNamara who paddles it towards Croxford. There was a heavy hit in the pocket and a free kick going the way of West Preston Lakeside for that hits. And it will be Luke LaRossi to have a shot at goal from the tightest angle at Preston City Oval in the right forward pocket.
Well, no, it's not the 2018 grand final, but it's a bit of Dom Sheed areas here where Luke LaRossi's got this kick from.
Do not bring that up, Jared. As the ball now with Luke LaRossi, one of the most underrated players in the competition.
How could you bring that up, Jack, being a Collingwood supporter? So LaRossi from the right forward pocket. It's going to be a tight one. He'll drop punt it on the siren. It goes across the face and it won't register a score. It got touched and punched through, but rush behinds don't count after the sirens. That brings us to the end of the first quarter. And it's been a quarter already that we've seen some great swingings of momentum. West Preston Lakeside got off to a hot start. They scored 2 goals in the first 4 minutes. Ahmed Sard with the opener, just had to be him. But then a 4-goal swing through the second half of the term. Molyneux, Callaway, Tom Bell and Haynes scored for Greensborough, and they lead by 12 points, Samuel.
What a quarter of footy. West Preston, they were right up for the task in the opening 5 minutes, weren't they? Kicked the first 2 goals and nearly had a third right in the middle of that one where Signorello, we probably thought he'd have the shot. He opted to hand pass and put Usul under the pump there. But how's the response from Greensborough? That's showing why they've won 18 of 19 games this year, because other sides may be going to their shell and just start to panic a little bit. But they took the game on.
Absolutely.
And by doing that, kicked the last 4 goals of the quarter and lead by 2 goals into a win that we think's worth at least 3 goals. having said that, you never know the true value of the win until both sides are kicked with it.
Exactly. I think Greensborough, they turned the quarter around through their midfield, and this was always going to be the risk, I think, for West Preston Lakeside, is that Greensborough have the best and the deepest first top-line midfield in the competition, and it's all the stars who have been turning it on and affecting the game positively for Greensborough. Ben Fennell's had a great game. Jordan McIver-Clark through the wing and half-back has had a great game, and Charlie Molyneux's probably been the best on ground. And they're using the ball wide. They're using their runners along the wings, and they're long kicking down the wings often. They rarely have used the corridor so far, and they normally, when they go to get the ball inside the forward 50, it's kicking it wide to half forward, maybe trying to avoid some of those key defenders who they know can take some good intercept marks, like Jackson Clark and Joel McDonald, Nathan Valladares. So going towards the half forward flanks first, but it's mainly been one in the midfield, where their midfielders have just been winning all the hard ball, all the contests, and it's been very impressive. West Preston Lakeside, though, as you said, their turn to now kick to the market end.
So we go to the first interval and at quarter time of the 2019 Meadows Greyhounds Division 1 Grand Final. It is Greensborough, 4 goals, 1-25, leading West Preston Lakeside 2 goals, 1-13. You are listening to the Premiership Decider in the top flight here in the Northern Football League on your local station, 88.6 Plenty Valley FM, and also streaming live on the NFNL Facebook page. But the Greensborough men, they mucked each other up there. That was Bedford and also Molyneux. The ball comes out now. Tilley hasn't played and lost this year. He's wrapped up in a big tackle, and the umpire sees the wing. Well, it wasn't great, but the Greensborough men, they mucked each other up there. That was Bedford and also Molyneux. The ball comes out now. Tilley hasn't played and lost this year. He's wrapped up in a big tackle, and the umpire says ball still in dispute here. 30 out from the Greensborough goal. It was really well done there on the last line of defence by the Roosters. And now Marotta has to go in again. He's too slow. He's caught in the tackle. Umpire Wednesday to put Greensborough in front for the first time in the grand final. He comes in and he's put it straight through the middle. And Greensborough leads for the first time in the 2019 Meadows Greyhound. Wednesday to put Greensborough in front for the first time in the grand final. He comes in and he's put it straight through the middle. And Greensborough leads for the first time in the 2019 Meadows Greyhound. Colano backtracks to his co-captain in Valladares, caught in a tackle, turned it over. Now Matthew Haynes has no one between him and goal. 2 bounces. He can run all the way to the square here. He has a third, and Matthew Haynes kicks one of the great running goals we've seen in the Northern Football Netball League. Took the ball from the defensive. Colano backtracks to his co-captain in Valladares, caught in a tackle, turned it over. Now Matthew Haynes has no one between him and goal. 2 bounces. He can run all the way to the square here. He has a third, and Matthew Haynes kicks one of the great running goals we've seen in the Northern Football Netball League. Took the ball from the defensive. Colano backtracks to his co-captain in Valladares, caught in a tackle.
Tries to zoom away. It's McNamara who paddles it towards Croxford. There was a heavy hit in the pocket, and tries to zoom away. It's McNamara who paddles it towards Croxford. There was a heavy hit in the pocket, and a free kick.
One touch, take a hit. Jacko, don't jump one hand. Okay, let's be strong. Right across the air. Kempy, loose ball. Strong. Come on. I'm not seeing strong efforts. Let's go, boys. Come on. Let's go, boys.
And we also welcome back everyone that's tuning in on the Facebook stream, thanks to Sportscast Australia. So I'm sure you thoroughly enjoyed that first term. It was end-to-end action in Greensborough. Dominated the latter parts of the term to take the advantage for West Preston Lakeside. We talked about the key players for Greensborough there, Jordan, but for West Preston Lakeside, there was some good signs early. I thought early on Federico was the best player on the ground, but just gradually as the quarter went on, it was Greensborough got on top. But Jackson Clark was really good across the half back line, and Garrett McDonough is going to be, when they have the win in particular, arguably the most dangerous player on the ground.
Absolutely, yeah, I'm spot on. I marked those same players down. Thought LaRossi was pretty good as well. Had a few unlucky bounces of the footy that made it hard for him. But Garrett McDonough is one of my key players to watch today, alongside a few others as well, Matt Harmon and Ahmed Saad.
Interrupt you there because Robert Winston's at ground level.
G'day, boys. It's got Mick Harford here. Mick, was the message at quarter time? You've kicked 4 goals against the wind. How are you feeling at this current moment?
Yeah, it just shows that either team can score into the breeze. You know, it is a strong breeze, but we show that you can score when you can run it in. So we've just got to be wary of that. Just got to make the most of the breeze. You know, it's a good, solid breeze, but you know, sometimes it's harder to score with the breeze. So we'll see how we go.
Too easy, mate. Thanks for joining us.
So Mick Harford there, joined by Robert Winston, his side kicking the last 4 goals of the term to take the lead, but certainly it's game on here after West Preston Lakeside made a fast start. Jared Gardner, you were at ground level, believe, listening to Rob Majorana at quarter time. If you could hear him, it was quite a throng around the West Preston Lakeside faithful there, or from the faithful, but what was the message if you could actually get in and hear a word from them?
I was able to get up nice and close, and Rob Majorana, you said, basically at the end of his message, he said he just wants strong efforts in the second quarter. They weren't strong enough at the ball in the first quarter, and it just really hurt them, and Greensborough able to get the run on. A few interesting notes from the West Preston huddle. Anthony Rocker is here at Preston City Oval, so he's doing some assistant coaching with the midfield group.
Believe he's doing the dash at half time.
Yeah. So a big get to just have him for a half is so huge for West Preston. Ercolano has got the strapping around the head, so he'll come back into this game, but have that. And just one to watch out for, Michael Marotta getting a lot of strapping on his knee. So just one to watch out for, see how he goes for the rest of this match.
So the sun is shining. We are predicted to have rain in the second half, so any lead that either side can have at the main break could come in handy if we do get expected showers in the second half of this contest here. The players are in position. Greensborough will kick to the city end in this second term. Tom Bell up against Alex Federico. What a matchup that one there will be. We've also got in the ruck Liam Reid to go up directly against his opposite number there in Matthew Harmon. Chris Clark is against Matthew Signorello. And also the final matchup, it looks like going into the middle of the ground, it looks like it's at Marotta who's starting inside. He's up against Charlie Molyneux.
So the second term is underway here at Preston City Oval. It's Greensborough who lead by 2 straight goals. Out of the back of the pack, it's Signorello, who tries to bat it to himself, and then he's wrapped up immediately by Tom Bell and crunched in the tackle. But it was a slam tackle, says the umpire. Unfair from Tom Bell. And so Matt Signorello will have it here around the back edge of the centre square for West Preston Lakesides. The NFNL Division 1 Grand Final. Ben Fennell flew on the wing. He almost had it, almost brought it down, but not quite. Brody Tickle couldn't keep it in the field of play. It goes out of play to be thrown in on the wing. 88.6 Plenty Valley FM, and streaming this game, multiple camera angles, commentary, score graphics, the lot on the Facebook page of the NFNL.
So big welcome to everyone tuning in. I'm sure there's a few of the former Boroughs faithful who are now abroad tuning in as well, and all those throughout the Northern Football Netball League community as well. Hope you are enjoying the action here. It's Greensborough 25, West Preston 13 in the opening minute of the second term. The throw in, 55 out from the Greensborough goal as Reid goes in against Harmon. Harmon reached over from the top. Now the ball's in dispute. Burrowing underneath was Chris Clark. He's wrapped up by Alex Federico, and we'll have a ball up. Pretty open, well, I was going to say open Greensborough forward line, but there's all the numbers are really deep, aren't they? And Aiden Tilley's actually a loose man in defence as Tom Bell extracts the footy, gets it to about 50 from home. Ball in dispute. McCubbin attacked it. It slipped out to McDonough. Costanzo is crunched there by Molyneux. Just didn't see him coming. And there's going to be a ball up 40 out from Greensborough's end.
I spoke to Mick Harford after, I believe it was the North Heidelberg game earlier this year. He spoke about Charlie Molyneux, and he said everyone knows Charlie's a great player, but Charlie is one of the best tacklers he's ever seen, and he just shows it there. He's laid a few great tackles so far early in this game.
Another big tackle laid there as well. I think it was Tom Bell that time who did it. In fact, Jake McNamara, another one of the Blondies in the Greensborough sides. Ball thrown up in their forward 50. Kicking to the city end, which has the breeze. Ben Fennell tries to get it around the side of the stoppage, but Valadares had him wrapped up. Signorello's short handball to Tilley, and now it's out to Rabordala, who goes to McDonough. Gets his kick away, but it was bumped after he got the kick, so it'll be a downfield here for West Preston Lakesides. On right half back outside the 50, and it will be Mitch Tobin to take the kick on the outer side of the ground. He kicks up towards McDonough, who ran on, but he was one-on-one with an opponent, and the ball is actually going to be a free kick here, so 2 free kicks in a row for the Roosters. Still in the back half of the ground, though, and Garrett McDonough has it on the hotel wing as he eyes inboard firstly. Not quite convinced to go long, but now he does with his booming left foot kick. High to the wing, flying at the back. Federico Marotta had his kick shut down. Greensborough trying to enforce this stoppage, and they close the wing up on the outer sides as the white and grey clouds continue to move over. There's a couple of dark ones off in the distance as well, so maybe we might get some rain later in this term. Ball continues on the wing. It bobbles around for a second. Whistle's gone here from the umpire, and a free kick going the way of Greensborough. So they did that well. They locked it up and they won the footy.
So they'll have it just defensive side of the far centre wing. It's going to be Josh Callaway, who's going to look to hand pass, but the umpire said Cataldo had to get out of the protected zone, so he's going to opt to go long now on that raking left foot kick. McNamara presents, got an arm to it, couldn't hold the mark. Reed doing the roving there, picked it up, upended as he kicked, but it still fell to Chris Clark, who danced out of a tackle, went the check side inside forward 50, and it's going to be a free kick, and it's going to be a Greensborough ball, is it, to Tynan Smith. There was at the front of that contest there. He was grappling with Nathan Valladares. In fact, it's not Tynan Smith, it's Ben Fennell. The ball actually went over the top of both, but there was a wrestle going on, and Ben Fennell, the umpire, has awarded him the free kick, and he'll be shooting from about 40 metres out. Worse than a 45-degree angle, but this a chance to open up an early 18-point advantage.
Just an unfortunate free kick to give away, because as you said, the ball had gone about 15 metres above the head of that contest, and just really not needed to get into that wrestling match. And Ben Fennell with a good opportunity to kick a goal here.
So 28 goals in 15 games for the Borough this year. Also played some VFL football with Essendon. Fennell comes in. He starts his approach outside the paint of 50. And he crosses the line now. Fennell to put the Borough 3 goals in front. Shot is on its way. And what's he done with that one? He's put it through. The umpire fooled us all, ran a long way across, but the Greensborough fans behind the goals told the story. Ben Fennell kicks his first, and Greensborough moves to 5-1-31. West Preston Lakeside, 2 goals, 1-13, and sure that keeps the Borough fans happy. I know one of them in particular, former skipper Tristan Stead, watching over in London. It's 5:30 in the morning, I think it is there at the moment, but the Borough at the moment have the upper hand, and the reigning premier, West Preston Lakeside, it's too early to say they're on the ropes, but they certainly need a response in the next couple of minutes, because at the moment, Greensborough is looking the far more dangerous side.
Exactly, and since the first probably 5 minutes of this match, they just haven't looked up to it, and Greensborough have just been dominant as the ball comes back to the centre now.
So 5-1 to 2-1. It's Greensborough who lead by 3 goals. 5 minutes in to the second term, and it suddenly got a bit dark here at Preston City.
Yeah, I was going to say the same. It's and the wind seems to be picking up even further.
Chris Clark around the back, the co-captain. His handball not so good. Coming through was Bell, powerful through the pack. Slams the ball into his boot, but it falls straight to Nathan Valladares, the co-captain of the Roosters, who marks. His kick to the wing was a risky one. Usual just had to force the contest. He punched it to the ground. Mackay Clark got it back for Greensborough. Thumps it to centre half forward. And out the back was Tilley, who took a nice mark, playing as the loose man in defence.
Yeah, he reads the play so well, Aidan Tilley. So he's one man. When he plays loose man, he can have a massive impact.
He spreads the play now to left half back, where Clark marks, and he's found McDonald further on, the ex-captain. West Preston Lakeside being a bit more deliberate with this passage. Kicking it long hasn't always worked for them, so they'll be a bit more precise, and McDonald's taken that mark. Chris Clark applied a bit of physicality, but no extra free kick or penalty. McDonough spins the ball in his right hand a few times. He looks across the face of goal and will go straight back to true centre half back, where Tilley marks. Will they go the switch? No, they won't. They'll go back short to Rabordala, who marks on the defensive edge of the centre square.
Don't mind this, I just slowed the game down just for a minute. Greensborough's making all the run at the moment. Just retain possession and maybe take some sting out of it.
Oh, they're trying to find a hole to poke through, but they can't quite. Rabordala just got his kick away. Usel's kick just flew over the head of Brody Tickle and found a teammate in Valladares. So they are inching their way up metre by metre through Preston City Oval, West Preston Lakeside. Now Valladares goes long, pulls the trigger to right half forward. It's an outnumber contest. Roosters were there, but McCubbin came in late for Greensborough and kicks towards centre half forward. Bounced unkindly off Valladares' shoe. It fell to Bell, now to Molyneux. It's been lost in the process by McCubbin, who tried to paddle it backwards to Molyneux, and diving on top of the footy with his head strapped up around the crown was Michael Urcolano. So both teams trying to poke a hole on the other side, but neither strategy coming off.
Ball back in the middle as Reed tapped it down. The Borough get a quick kick out of the midfield there, and it goes towards the boundary line. Desmond won't track it down. Maybe it was just a bit of overuse on that far side from Greensborough. They had men over the top. They retreated backwards by hand. If they had have just kept getting that ball on, they had the numbers. Even if it went into dispute, you would have felt that they could drive that ball forward, but not to be on that occasion. And the ball to be thrown in, 55 out from the Greensborough goal, City end of the ground. As Harmon wins it convincingly. Federico goes fishing for it, couldn't take it cleanly. Hand pass is now shut down. Tobin screws the ball towards centre wing. It's a good kick. It's going to hug the boundary line. Will it go out? Eventually it does off hands, and we'll have a throw in. So we've gone 8 minutes in this term, and it's Greensborough 5-1-31 to West Preston Lakeside 2-1-13. 18 points of difference here, and the Borough have kicked the last 5 goals of this game.
So a throw in on the outer side. It's been bicep to bicep so far in this second term. It's a hard contest to win. Just the 1 goal so far through NFNL, and that one goes out of play. Robert Winston is riding the boundary for us this afternoon. Robert.
You there, boys?
Yeah, we got you, mate.
Yeah, just quick update on conditions, mate. Certainly has calmed down the wind. I don't think there's as much of an advantage as there was in that first quarter, so certainly a lot easier to kick up towards the market end for Greensborough in the second quarter. Should I say West Preston?
The trees are only swaying slightly over to the right as we look around. So maybe that breeze not having as much of an effect today at Preston. It's had a couple of stoppages in a row, a ball up on the wing.
It was heavy early in the game. It was heavy a few moments ago and just died off at the moment, but it's been like that a bit of all throughout the day so far. It's really picked up at times and then has died off. So at the moment has just settled. We'd expect in a few moments' time we'll be saying the exact opposite.
Walking into the ground today, I know we're a long way away from it, but it felt like an ocean breeze. It was that sort of gust that you get off the sea, but it felt like that. So that's how powerful it can be at Preston.
As the ball now kicked towards half forward for the Borough. McDonough was the man who took it cleanest. Got it off to Tilly, who got around a tackler, and then handballed off to McDonough, who can get onto the left boot now. Kicks a high ball towards half forward to 1-on-1. Good spoil came from McClendon. Now he lays a shepherd for Jack Johnston to come through. Just fumbled the footy, but he had support in Bedford, who got it off to the teammate there, wrapped up straight away, being Dan McClendon, and the umpire will ball it up. 60 out from the West Preston Lakeside goal. The last West Preston Lakeside goal came at the 4-minute mark of the first term. We're now 10 minutes into the second, and since then Greensborough's kicked 5 as Reed tapped it down, picked up in amongst all of that by Signorello, shoved out a hand pass, but it was picked up by Desmond. Handball over the top only as far as McDonough, whose kick was smothered, and it now falls to Tom Bell. Took it cleanly and then hammers a floater towards half forward. It nearly landed right in the lap of Stellis. Couldn't quite complete the mark. McDonald scraps against him. Good work there by the former skipper of West Preston Lakeside, and we're going to have a ball up. 60 out from the Greensborough attacking goal line.
He's in a bit of a dry spell at the moment, Andrew Stellis. 23 goals for the season, but only 2 in the last 8 weeks of football. We're looking for some output for him today. Ball thrown up, hard up against the right half forward flank boundary. Chris Clark tried to come bullocking through, but it wouldn't release, and another ball up.
The amazing thing is with Stellis, he's probably the closest thing to what they've got to a key forward, yet he can kick 2 goals in the last 8 weeks, and they're still finding ways to go, whether it's Bernal, whether it's McCubbin. They've got so many guys who can hit the scoreboard.
Well, look at the last final. They kicked 22 goals against North Heidelberg. Molyneux kicked 4. Also 4 goals to McCubbin and 4 goals to Panham. But this West Preston Lakeside team, they know how to hit the scoreboard as well. And Ahmed Saad, with 89 goals coming in today, already has 1. And they have the most dangerous forward on the ground as the ball slips through Croxford's grasp. But he had time to go back and give it to Cataldo. Kicks a high ball to centre half forward. A hard one for anyone to mark. Reported couldn't trap it. In fact, it was Kemp. And now it comes out to McIver Clark, who missed Johnston by hand. But it might spill back to him. He goes up against Signorello. Signorello picks it up. Handball to Usul, who was clean. Got around 1. And now kicks a wide ball outside. And the Roosters, they have numbers on the far side if it sits up, which it does. Kemp has the football now. Handball over the top. It looks like it finds Signorello. Signorello now kicks into the pocket. Is there anyone home? Getting back and taking the relieving mark, though, for Greensborough was Dan McClendon, who really had his name written all over that one the entire journey through.
Part of the 2 key pillars in defence, Dan McClendon, along with Nick Riddle. The kick just reached Desmond. His kick doesn't reach Molyneux. Signorello picks it off. He chips it inside the forward line. And he's found a teammate in Mitchell Crapper, who has marked 45 out. He goes back over his mark quickly. He looked like he wanted to go deeper inside the forward 50 with some haste, but now he will size it up.
Yeah, it didn't look confident at all originally.
So how will he fare from this distance? Mitchell Crapper started the game in the defensive half, but has been more of a half forward through the season. Right half forward kick, that's held up a long way out from goal. Nick Riddle dived across and tried to punch it out of play. Still alive, though. McIver Clark fumbles around for it at half-back. Croxford swung around 360 in the tackle, but allowed to go on. McIver Clark fumbles again. Boundary line closing in. Ball stays alive still. It's outside the 50 now for West Preston. And it will be thrown up on right half forward. So Mitchell Crapper's kick travelled all of about 30 metres and didn't even reach the goal line.
Ball thrown up, Kramer's Hotel side of the ground. One down by McNamara and now just hammered forward by Clark. One-on-one's back, but reading that one best was Tilly, who cuts inside to Clark. It was dangerous, but it got there in the end. And now Clark, he's got a runner on his outside, and he's going to use him now. Chip ball inside, finds its way to Kemp. That came from Rabortala. Kemp now, probably with this win, 2, if not 3 kicks from home. He's going to set the ball inside forward 50. Goes wide, Cinderella the target. He used his body well, and he outmarked McIver Clark. Hemmed up on the boundary line. He'll have to kick this one from 50, so you'd imagine he's going to look to pass this one off. The eyes up were darting inboard. Sard leads. He doesn't want to take that one there. So he's going to chip deeper again. It's a good kick. Crapper presents, and Crapper takes a strong mark. No, it took a hand on the way through, but he got a high one against Chris Clark, and Mitch Crapper to take the free kick. Tied in on the boundary line about 20 metres out from goal.
Well, first thing they're doing well, West Preston, is defending well. They're getting numbers across the half-back line. They know Greensborough, with the win, will go with those high, long kicks, and they've defended well, and now they're using the ball with precision to go inside the forward line.
So Crapper comes in now. His kick's going to go across the face of goal. Where are the high flyers? There might be a mark in all this. It's stuck to someone's hands, and it's a West Preston Lakeside footy, and we can't quite see who's at the bottom of all this. There's a congested pack, and getting up and claiming the mark for the Roosters about 20 out, or not even 5 out from goal is Michael Marotta. Tight on the angle, but he might be able to open this one up and go with a banana there as he takes the mark on the goal line. In the end, Lax defending, and Marotta took the mark unopposed here. So it can come in. It would be a much needed goal for West Preston Lakeside. Haven't kicked one for the best part of 40 minutes as Marotta starts a slow approach now. McNamara stands the mark as Marotta trots in for their 3rd goal of the day, and he's missed to the near side, it looks like. He has. It's missed narrow, and it's a minor score there for West Preston Lakeside, who moved to 2 goals, 2-14. Greensborough 5-1-31, and this quarter's gone 15 minutes, and we've had a goal to Greensborough and a behind to West Preston Lakeside.
Well, at least they're preventing Greensborough from scoring at the scoring end with the win. West Preston, they've done well so far defensively, but haven't quite had enough to show for it on the scoreboard. In fact, just that one behind, as you said.
And the wind blowing across the ground, obviously to the city end, but across. So all the play really throughout the day has been played on that far side of the ground. Very rarely have we seen the ball switch to this grandstand side.
Overcast conditions at Preston City Oval. Halfway through this second term, it's Greensborough who lead the grand final by 17 points. As the ball is thrown back in, Federico lurking, but the umpire will call for it once more. Far edge of the centre square. Greensborough and West Preston Lakeside in the Division 1 decider on 88.6 Plenty Valley FM. Samuel Zito, Jordan Canellis with you. Jared Gardner analysing things, and Robert Winston on the boundary for us this afternoon. Ball thrown back up. Harmon got it down, but Bell came through for Greensborough and has given away a free kick here. So it'll be West Preston's through Federico, who'll use it quickly to find McDonald out wide, who takes the mark. In fact, it's Jackson Clark who's defensive side of centre wing. He pats his palm to the air to slow things down, and then he'll kick long up towards half forwards. Harmon kicked it off the ground. What does the umpire say? Is it out of bounds on the full? Yes, it is. Silly decision there to hack it off the grounds. 31 Greensborough, 14 West Preston.
One thing you say about West Preston, they've managed to deny Greensborough from scoring this term, so they'll take that win here after trailing by 12 at quarter time. Just 17 the difference here, as Clark takes the mark at the back of the pack on the chest. Read that one better than anyone else in flight, and now Jackson Clark, centre half back in the 2019 Team of the Year, chips over to Harmon, who's been a standout this year, taking on first ruck duties in the absence of Kovacevic. Harmon now sets the ball up towards half-back. Jack Johnson gets a run at it, and he gets a good 2 hands to it too. He takes a strong mark there, the Greensborough half-back. Best on ground in the second semi-final a fortnight ago, as the sun now starts to shine over Preston City Oval. Jack Johnson wants to float a ball across the defensive 50. Gives him a real task. He was able to tap it on to Ireland, who kept his feet and got it on to Haynes, who's been quiet this term. Caught a great chase down tackle, and that's holding the ball. And the ball comes back out to Nathan Valadares, and the West Preston Lakeside skipper has it on the edge of the goals of the centre square.
So they'll conjure another inside 50 here, West Preston. A long ball to the 50. Underneath it is Crapper, who had it, tried to reel it in one-handed out the back, couldn't quite. and the green shirts. They angle in from all directions and they clear it from defensive 50 up to the wing. Stellis took it on the bounce. McIver Clark was caught in the tackle and was stepped out of play and will be thrown back in around about 75 metres from home here for West Preston. 5-1-31 plays 2-2-14. We've gone 18 minutes in the second term in the Meadows Greyhounds Division 1 Grand Final of the Northern Football Netball League. Ball thrown back in. It's swatted down by Harmon, but it goes straight to the deck, and there'll be another stoppage in the form of a ball up.
So we're in a goal drought at the moment. 14 minutes since we saw the last goal go through via NFNL. As the Rucks go at it, ball's tapped down. Good tackle laid there on the far side by the West Preston man. That looked like it was Tobin on the far side. And he wrapped up Charlie Molyneux, who now throws the ball back to the umpire, who has to go and fetch it there. That one missed him by a few metres. The umpire to throw it up here, half forward for the Roosters. Been a scrappy second term, that's for sure. Ball on the far side, trying to charge through Tom Bell, managed to get a handball towards the boundary line. Dreher's going to pick it up, keeps the ball alive. Now he opts to run it out of bounds as Chris Clark approaches, and we'll have a throw in. Far side, centre wing, with Greensborough 5-1-31 leading West Preston Lakeside 2-2-14 at the 19-minute mark of the second term.
So it's slow going so far in the middle of this second term. Hasn't been a lot of goals, just the one in the quarter. It's an arm wrestle. The West Preston Lakeside have been able to conjure more forward 50 entries than Greensborough have. The defence has held up so far pretty well for the Roosters in the second term, and they've got a free kick here as Bell tried to wrestle it towards half forward, but Tobin was the beneficiary of the foul. And his kick is a wobbly one. He's put it out in front of Dreher, who just did well enough to receive the ball and handball off to Tobin, to Clark, and Tobin did expertly well. That was an outrageous sidestep, but now his handball to Dreher has been coughed up, and they paddle forward. They swarm forward here at Greensborough. It's batted along the ground by McCubbin, looking for Bell into the pocket, but the defence again holds up for the Roosters. Clark found a handball. He got it off to Rabordala, kicked away by Ercolano, out of play on the full, or took a bounce.
No, it's gone on the full. Great forward pressure from Greensborough. Just keep an eye on Tom Bell. He may have got a high one accidentally in that real crash and bash situation against Jackson Clark. Just slow to his feet. He's got there now. And now an opportunity for the Borough on the far side. And coming in, looks like is it McIver Clark on the far side. Left foot kick, it's on its way. It's going to go right to the line and across the face for a minor score. Gee, that looked good for a long way. And it's a minor score as Greensborough go to 5-2-32. West Preston Lakeside 2-2-14. Might have been, was it Panam, in fact, who had that shot on goal on the far side. And the ball to now be brought back in by Garrett McDonough.
McDonough, who's getting jeered by the Greensborough fans behind the goal. He kicks long out towards right half back. Panam again contested that one, but Crapper held the mark at right half back.
Got great hands, doesn't he, the youngster Crapper?
So he'll trot up along the wing and send it long. It holds up in the breeze. Underneath it, Fennell tried to rise out the back for a screamer, but it fell to the front for Tilly, who took it. And again, West Preston Lakeside, as has been the case for most of the game, using the far wing. Tilly's long kick out towards right half forward came off hands. Vincent Torrio was there to try and push it forward to Crapper. Advantage taken. Crapper delivers in the forward 50 to Ahmed Saad, who got a few metres of separation on Nick Riddle, and that's all he needs. And now Ahmed Saad will go through the goal-scoring process. And this is a much-needed goal for West Preston. They haven't scored in about half an hour, even more of play than in this game. And there's a blood rule as well, so we'll wait a bit longer.
It's Ercolano, who's already got the head wrapped up, as Robert Winston mentioned it just before quarter time. They got the knock to the head late in the first term, so he's coming off and he'll be replaced. But Ahmed Saad, 90 goals for the season, and this may be the biggest one if he can put it through.
230 goals in 54 games at West Preston Lakeside. Ahmed Saad, it's a remarkable goal-scoring record. Yet another leading goal-scoring award going his way. He's had a couple now in the NFNL. He had one in the VFL as well. And now he begins his slow approach. He walks over the arc of 50. Ball held deliberately over his kicking leg. Right-footed strike. It floats through the air. It carries in the wings and it goes out of bounds on the full. No score at all for Ahmed Sards.
We'll get Robert Winston to just get an update on Tom Bell as well, because he's made his way to the bench after that head knock a few moments ago. So if Rob can just keep us updated there as the ball's kicked out of defence. McNamara couldn't mark, fell to the front of the pack, and Greensborough had the numbers. Fennell wheels around, sends a high ball towards centre wing. Stellis will be the target. Tilly flew acrobatically and took a great mark for West Preston Lakeside. Got the air time, held it on the chest, and Aidan Tilly has the mark. Grandstand side of the ground, a rare time this day that the ball's come to this side of the ground. Kicks towards half forward. Harmon has to fly from 3 deep. Ball falls to the front. Again, it's Fennell who picked it up. He's tackled out of bounds and will cross to boundary level, where Robert Winston is keeping an eye on Tom Bell.
Yeah, got Tom Bell right in front of me. Looks like he's copped a knock to the right side of his head. Looks just like a bruise, nothing too serious. Probably just having a bit of a rest, a 5-minute break, just rotation. So expect him to come back on just before the end of the half.
So gone 23 minutes now in this second term as Harmon grabs it out of the ruck. Sends the ball inside forward 50. It was a wayward one, but he got a kind bounce for Urkelano, who tapped it into the pocket. It's kept alive now. Crapper shovels a handball inboard. Can they conjure something out of this one? Keeping his feet in the pocket was Usul. Can he bend a miraculous goal to the goal square? Sard was there, out of his reach. Still kept alive. Tobin tried to break a tackle. He couldn't get through Johnston, and he's taken out of bounds. Good defending there from Greensborough, but some fleet-footed work from the Roosters forwards as well to keep that ball alive and get them a chance to have this throw in here.
So it's in the right forward pocket as the sun shows itself again at Preston. Ball thrown in, it comes to the front. Reed tapped it down. Around the back is Desmond. His handball cut off by Signorello. Roosters are lurking, but they can't quite break clear of the green shirts around them. And the umpire will throw it up in that right forward pocket. 32 plays 14. We've gone 24 minutes in this second term. Ball thrown up again. It's tapped down by Harmon. Sard had a hand to it, but he was dragged to the ground by Nick Riddle. Around the corner. Oh, it's been cut off. And they've got a mark in the forward line. It's Mitch Tobin who's dived onto the clearing kick from the Greensborough player. Never left the 50. And Tobin just read it best. He anticipated it well and slid in to take a diving mark. And now he'll try and set this up and kick from 35.
So Riddle there, the kick didn't clear. And now Tobin from a similar position to where Ahmed Sard lined up.
He'll skip in. He's got a couple of runners going past, but he'll take it on his own. Tobin kicks to goal. It holds its line. They celebrate immediately. West Preston Lakeside. Mitch Tobin has scored. It's their first goal of this second term. The first goal they've scored since the 4th minute of the first quarter. And here we are in the 26th minute of the second quarter. And the margin is back into 2 straight kicks.
We said it a few moments ago that you'd probably say that West Preston Lakeside would be content with the way the quarter had gone, given they'd restricted Greensborough to just 1 goal. Well, now definitely the fact that they've scored the same as the Borough in this term, you give the points to the Roosters, and they're suddenly right back in the contest, just 12 points down. Greensborough 5-2-32. West Preston Lakeside 3-2-20 as the ball back in the middle. Reed won the tap down, but only as far as Signorello, and the Roosters are going forward again. Urkelano spreads it wide, looking for Kemp. The ball, can he keep it in? He can, and he can turn now and kick them inside 50. He got around a tackler and now sends a high ball inside forward 50. Sard the target, Riddle slipped over. Signorello took the mark, quickly goes on to the goal square. Not so sure about that option there, and it's turned over to Adrian Cataldo, who handballs wide to release Josh Callaway.
So Callaway gets around his man on the wing. He kicks a wobbling ball up towards the grandstand sides. It bounces out in front of Stellis, who tried to hook the ball up around the corner, up the wing, but it was smothered and out of play for a throw-in on the wing.
So we'll have a throw-in, half forward for West Preston Lakeside.
Go to Robert Winston on the boundary line.
Yeah, boys. Nathan Valadares has copped a shocking core kick to his right lower leg, and he's got trainers working on it now, and it's not looking good just before the half-time break for Valadares.
Well, that's not a good one at all for the Roosters. Pivotal part of their side, of course, their co-captain, premiership co-captain as well last year with Ahmed Sard. I hope that he can run that one out as the siren sounds and ends an intriguing first half here. It's been a real arm wrestle, and as we go to the main break, the margin remains as it did at quarter time, and it is 12 points in Greensborough's favour. The Borough 5-2-32. They lead West Preston Lakeside 3-2-20. Jordan Canellis, both sides that term kicked 1 goal, 1-7 apiece, and you certainly must give the points to West Preston Lakeside.
Absolutely. The breeze is definitely favouring the city end, the end that's Greensborough was scoring to in this second quarter, and they only managed to get 1 goal,
boys, yeah.
which is a great testament to the West Preston Lakeside defence.
And we cross to Robert Winston with Rob Majorana.
Just got, Rob Majorana. Kicked the late goal there, late in that second half, first half. How are you feeling at half-time, mate? You got the ascendancy on the board.
Yeah, I thought our last 10-15 minutes was much better. Better contest, better fight. That last goal was handy. I think it's evenly poised. I think they started better than us. We had the first 5-10 minutes was on our terms, that first quarter, and they got on top, but we're able to fight and hold that quarter when they had the win. So, evenly poised.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for joining.
Rob Majorana there with Robert Winston, and I think he summed it up perfectly there. You have to say that they started well, Greensborough got on top, but that last 10 to 15 minutes, wouldn't say it belonged to West Preston, but it certainly was played on their terms, and they were able to really stop the momentum that Greensborough had built with 5 consecutive goals. And early in that quarter, when Ben Fennell kicked the goal, you started to really worry for West Preston Lakeside, but they show why they're the reigning premier. They are a expertly drilled side, and they were able to just take the footy away from the Roosters. They won the hard ball, won it through the midfield, and it was the likes of Federico getting involved. Ercolano lifted, but he was back on the ground as well, and just doing what they have to. Tilly and Clark cutting the ball off at half back, and they're able to keep themselves right in the contest, and we have an even money game as we go to the main break.
Yeah, I thought their intercept marks across half back, West Preston Lakeside, was the feature of the quarter. Greensborough, I don't know, they looked like they were playing very defensively. They weren't committing too many numbers forward. Maybe that had to do with West Preston Lakeside's ball use as well, and actually pinning Greensborough back. But every time they tried to get clear of their defensive half, Greensborough, they just couldn't get past the 60-metre line, let's say, where West Preston Lakeside normally had 2 or 3 players lined up across half back. McDonough, Clark, and also Valladares across the half back line, cutting things off, and then able to springboard forward again for the Roosters. So we don't have stats here, but I reckon the inside 50 count was probably something like 15-3 in that term. Such was the forward momentum that West Preston Lakeside had. But as it always is against Greensborough, it's hard to score against their defence. And even though they had more inside 50 entries, only 1 goal, 1 to show from it, they would have been hoping for more. But as you said earlier, they wouldn't be disappointed with that quarter. They'd be quite pleased, actually, the Roosters.
So in the end, the Greensborough defence had to hold up pretty strongly, didn't they? We saw Riddle and McClendon make a few key scores. Jack Johnston as well holding up well in the air. But as I said, as we go to the break, it really is an even money game here in the 2019 Meadows Greyhounds Division 1 Grand Final. Greensborough at 5-2-32 leads West Preston Lakeside 3-2-20. Goal scorers thus far, all singles throughout the ground for Greensborough. We've got 1-2 Ben Fennell, Charlie Molyneux, Josh Callaway, Tom Bell and Matthew Haynes. And for West Preston Lakeside, they're all single goal scorers as well, and they go to Alex Federico, Ahmed Saad and Mitch Tobin with a really important goal into the breeze late in that second term. As we go to our break, it is Greensborough 5-2-32 leading West Preston Lakeside 3-2-20. You are listening to the coverage of the 2019 Meadows Greyhounds Division 1 Decider live on the NFNL Facebook page and also over the airwaves of 88.6 Plenty Valley FM.
Out of side, a high kick towards centre half forward, off hands, releasing handball to Saad. The crowd rises. Saad drives it. Saad drives home the first goal of the day. It just had to be him. Ahmed Saad somehow got loose at centre half forward, and he pierced the goals from 40 metres.
And that was nothing that Nick Riddle did wrong in that situation. The ball just bounced luckily, and Saad was the first one to react and got on the end of a handball from Cinderello. Just one of those other matchups in the West Preston forward line. Cinderello obviously has been played a lot of VFL.
On the outer side, a high kick towards centre half forward, off hands, releasing handball to Saad. The crowd rises. Saad drives it. Saad drives home the first goal of the day. It just had to be him. Ahmed Saad somehow got loose at centre half forward, and he pierced the goals from 40 metres.
And that was nothing that Nick Riddle did wrong in that situation. The ball just bounced luckily, and Saad was the first one to react and got on the end of a handball from Cinderello. Just one of those other matchups in the West Preston forward line. Cinderello obviously has been played a lot of VFL.
Lakeside kicking to the city end, Greensborough to the Preston Market end, the Kramer Street end. Ball thrown in, it's come loose here. Usul has the swinging shot at goal, and he has converted from the left forward pocket. Lakeside kicking to the city end, Greensborough to the Preston Preston market end, the Kramer Street ends. Ball thrown in, it's come loose here. Usul has the swinging shot at goal, and he has converted from the left forward pocket. Side kicking to the city ends, Greensborough to the Preston market end, the Kramer Street ends. Ball thrown in, it's come loose here. Usul has the swinging shot at goal, and he has converted from the left forward pocket.
To the wing, well, it wasn't great, but the Greensborough men, they mucked each other up there. That was Bedford and also Molyneux. The ball comes out now. Tilly hasn't played and lost this year. He's wrapped up in a big tackle, and the umpire says the wing. Well, it wasn't great, but the Greensborough men, they mucked each other up there. That was Bedford and also Molyneux. The ball comes out now. Tilly hasn't played and lost this year. He's wrapped up in a big tackle, and the umpire says ball's still in dispute here. 30 out from the Greensborough goal. It was really well done there on the last line of the fence by the Roosters. And now Marotta has to go in again. He's too slow. He's caught in the tackle. Umpire Wednesday to put Greensborough in front for the first time in the grand final. He comes in and he's put it straight through the middle. And Greensborough leads for the first time in the 2019 Meadows Greyhound. Wednesday to put Greensborough in front for the first time in the grand final. He comes in and he's put it straight through the middle. And Greensborough leads for the first time in the 2019 Meadows Greyhound. Colano backtracks to his co-captain in Valadares, caught in a tackle, turned it over. Now Matthew Haynes has no one between him and goal. 2 bounces. He can run all the way to the square here. He has a third, and Matthew Haynes kicks one of the great running goals we've seen in the Northern Football Netball League. Took the ball from the defensive. Colano backtracks to his co-captain in Valadares, caught in a tackle, turned it over. Now Matthew Haynes has no one between him and goal. 2 bounces. He can run all the way to the square here. He has a third, and Matthew Haynes kicks one of the great running goals we've seen in the Northern Football Netball League. Took the ball from the defensive. Colano backtracks to his co-captain in Valadares, caught in a tackle, turned it over. Now Matthew Haynes has no one between him and goal. 2 bounces. He can run all the way to the square here. He has a third, and Matthew Haynes kicks one of the great running goals we've seen in the Northern Football Netball League. Took the ball from the defensive.
Tries to zoom away. It's McNamara who paddles it towards Croxford. There was a heavy hit in the pocket, and tries to zoom away. It's McNamara who paddles it towards Croxford. There was a heavy hit in the pocket, and back of the pack, it's Signorello who tries to bat it to himself, and then he's wrapped up immediately by Tom Bell.
Dispute, McCubbin attacked it, it slipped out to McDonough. Costanzo is crunched there by Molyneux, just didn't see him. Dispute, McCubbin attacked it, it slipped out to McDonough. Costanzo is crunched there by Molyneux, just didn't see him. Doing the roving there, picked it up, upended as he kicked, but it still fell to Chris Clark, who danced out of a tackle, went the check side inside forward 50, and it's going to be a free kick, and it's going to be a Greensborough ball. And he crosses the line now, Fennell, to put the Borough 3 goals in front. Shot is on its way, and what's he done with that one? He's put it through the umpire. He crosses the line now, Fennell, to put the Borough 3 goals in front. Shot is on its way, and what's he done with that one? He's put it through the umpire. He crosses the line now, Fennell, to put the Borough 3 goals in front. Shot is on its way, and what's he done with that one? He's put it through the umpire.
McCubbin came in late for Greensborough and kicks towards centre half forward. Bounced unkindly off Valadares.
Just fumbled the footy, but he had support in Bedford, who got it off to the teammate there, wrapped up straight away. Sends a high ball towards centre wing. Stellis will be the target. Tilly flew acrobatically and took a great mark. Sends a high ball towards centre wing. Stellis will be the target. Tilly flew acrobatically and took a great mark.
Tobin kicks to goal. It holds its line. They celebrate immediately. West Preston Lakeside, Mitch Tobin has scored. It's their first goal of this. Tobin kicks to goal. It holds its line. They celebrate immediately. West Preston Lakeside, Mitch Tobin has scored. It's their first goal of this. On the outer side, a high kick towards centre half forward. Off hands, releasing handball to Sard. The crowd rises. Sard drives it. Sard drives home the first goal of the day. It just had to be him. Ahmed Sard somehow got loose at centre half forward, and he pierced the goals from 40 metres.
And that was nothing that Nick Riddle did wrong in that situation. The ball just bounced luckily, and Sard was the first one to react and got on the end of a handball from Signorello. Just one of those other matchups in the West Preston forward line. Signorello obviously has been played a lot of VFL.
On the outer side, a high kick towards centre half forward. Off hands, releasing handball to Sard. The crowd rises. Sard drives it. Sard drives home the first goal of the day. It just had to be him. Ahmed Saad somehow got loose at centre half forward and he pierced the goals from 40 metres.
And that was nothing that Nick Riddle did wrong in that situation. The ball just bounced luckily, and Saad was the first one to react and got on the end of a handball from Cinderello. Just one of those other matchups in the West Preston forward line. Cinderello obviously has been played a lot of their
Side kicking to the city end, Greensborough to the Preston market end, the Kramer Street end. Ball thrown in, it's come loose here. Usul has the swinging shot at goal and he has converted from the left forward pocket. Side kicking to the city end, Greensborough to the Preston market end, the Kramer Street end. Ball thrown in, it's come loose here. Usul has the swinging shot at goal and he has converted from the left forward pocket. Side kicking to the city end, Greensborough to the Preston market end, the Kramer Street end. Ball thrown in, it's come loose here. Usul has the swinging shot at goal and he has converted from the left forward pocket.
To the wing, well, it wasn't great, but the Greensborough men, they mucked each other up there. That was Bedford and also Molyneux. The ball comes out now. Tilly hasn't played and lost this year. He's wrapped up in a big tackle and the umpire says the wing. Well, it wasn't great, but the Greensborough men, they mucked each other up there. That was Bedford and also Molyneux. The ball comes out now. Tilly hasn't played and lost this year. He's wrapped up in a big tackle and the umpire says ball's still in dispute here. 30 out from the Greensborough goal. It was really well done there on the last line of defence by the Roosters. And now Marotta has to go in again. He's too slow. He's caught in the tackle. Umpire Wednesday to put Greensborough in front for the first time in the grand final. He comes in and he's put it straight through the middle. And Greensborough leads for the first time in the 2019 Meadows Greyhound. Wednesday to put Greensborough in front for the first time in the grand final. He comes in and he's put it straight through the middle. And Greensborough leads for the first time in the 2019 Meadows Greyhound. Colano backtracks to his co-captain in Valadares, caught in a tackle, turned it over. Now Matthew Haynes has no one between him and goal. 2 bounces. He can run all the way to the square here. He has a third, and Matthew Haynes kicks one of the great running goals we've seen in the Northern Football Netball League. Took the ball from the defensive. Colano backtracks to his co-captain in Valadares, caught in a tackle, turned it over. Now Matthew Haynes has no one between him and goal. 2 bounces. He can run all the way to the square here. He has a third, and Matthew Haynes kicks one of the great running goals we've seen in the Northern Football Netball League. Took the ball from the defensive. Colano backtracks to his co-captain in Valadares, caught in a tackle, turned it over. Now Matthew Haynes has no one between him and goal. 2 bounces. He can run all the way to the square here. He has a third, and Matthew Haynes kicks one of the great running goals we've seen in the Northern Football Netball League. Took the ball from the defensive.
Tries to zoom away. It's McNamara who paddles it towards Croxford. There was a heavy hit in the pocket and tries to zoom away. It's McNamara who paddles it towards Croxford. There was a heavy hit in the pocket and look at the pack. It's Signorello who tries to bat it to himself and then he's wrapped up immediately by Tom Bell.
Dispute, McCubbin attacked it, it slipped out to McDonough. Costanzo is crunched there by Molyneux, just didn't see him. Dispute, McCubbin attacked it, it slipped out to McDonough. Costanzo is crunched there by Molyneux, just didn't see him. Doing the roving there, picked it up, upended as he kicked, but it still fell to Chris Clark, who danced out of a tackle, went the check side inside forward 50, and it's going to be a free kick, and it's going to be a Greensborough ball. And he crosses the line now, Fennell, to put the Borough 3 goals in front. Shot is on its way, and what's he done with that one? He's put it through the umpire. He crosses the line now, Fennell. 2:20. We're going to cross to ground level. Robert Winston is on the surface. Rob, just an update on conditions as the two sides just go through their final warm-ups before starting this third quarter.
Yeah, boys, just down here at the city end, it's picked up a gale, a couple of knots here, and I'd say this wind's probably the similar strength as it was in the first quarter. So certainly they want to take advantage of this big advantage in the third quarter.
Yeah, well, West Preston, we know that they kicked with the breeze in the first term, kicked the opening 2 goals, then were outscored with the next 4 going Greensborough's way. But that term there, they got the game back on their terms and were able to keep the margin at 12 points, which is a big win after Greensborough had kicked the opening goal of the quarter. Jordan Canellis, third term, as we know, is the premiership quarter. And given how close this game is at half-time, you can't say that it's anything other than that today on the biggest day of the season.
No, absolutely. I don't know what to expect from this quarter. The first quarter had goals scored in it, but I wouldn't say it was the middle of that first quarter closed up a little bit, and then it was all the way through that second quarter. It was cagey, it was tight, it was, there were no chains of play. It was stoppage after stoppage after stoppage. It was very slow, and a lot of that was instigated by West Preston Lakeside's willingness to defend and to try and close up Greensborough, knowing that they had the scoring end with them. I don't know what we're going to expect here in the third term. West Preston Lakeside have the scoring end. Do they come out and try and go blazing away and scoring early goals? I'm sure that would be the ideal situation, but I don't know how they're going to approach this quarter, West Preston Lakeside. It's the great sort of question, I think, of this term. But maybe, I don't know, who knows, maybe the game will be won in this quarter.
So the players now moving into their position. It's going to be West Preston Lakeside to the city end in this third quarter, and as expected, we'd see Ahmed Saad making his way down. You imagine he keeps that match up with Nick Riddle, but Jordan, what we also come to expect is Aidan Tilley to play forward when they've got the wind and in defence when they're kicking against at West Preston, and that's happened exactly here with Tilley now moving deep into the forward line with Oscar Usul, Mitch Crapper, Luke LaRossi and also Matt Vincent-Torio. And down the other end, Tynan Smith is forward with Brody Tickle. You can also see that starting forward in this quarter will be Ben Fennell, and the midfields, Signorello's in there for West Preston Lakeside with Ercolano, and also in there with Federico, and for West Preston it's Tom Bell, Charlie Molyneux and also Chris Clark.
So the second half, the final half of the 2019 season is upon us. Greensborough lead by 12 points and the grand final resumes. It's Charlie Molyneux who kicks to centre half forward. And early on, a good mark taken by Tynan Smith, who gets back over his mark quickly, delivers inside the forward line. It goes underneath the hands of Brody Tickle, who pursues it to the pocket, tried to keep it in the field of play, but Max Dreer cut it off, and it goes out of play. Greensborough, the early inside 50 entry in this third quarter. 5-2-32 Greensborough. West Preston Lakeside 3-2-20. 30 seconds gone in the third quarter. Live on your local station, 88.6 Plenty Valley FM, and streaming live on Facebook. Greensborough looking to get the early start in this second half, but clearing out of defence is West Preston Lakeside. Reaches defensive 50. Up comes Molyneux, tries to surface with the footy. Was pushed over as he worked off the handball. Marotta lurking. Molyneux dives back in. He ropes the ball back in underneath his body, but the umpire says nothing of it, and he'll ball it up in the centre square. Thrown up, it's Signorello, who came through, squeezes out a kick and jammed further clear by Ercolano, who bounces it out to the wing. Marotta takes it over his head, fires off a handball to LaRossi, who directs the play towards half forward. Sard slipped over, Riddle kept his feet, he dances through the traffic and hands backwards to Dan McClendon.
And McClendon spreads a wide ball, looking for McIver Clark, went over his head. This is the big footy now. McIver Clark up against McDonough. Neither can actually take possession of the footy. It was a 0-0 draw in some ways. Ball paddles towards the boundary line. Will it go over the line eventually? Yes. And we'll have a throw in. Far side of the ground with sunshine now bathing Preston City Oval. Certainly a lot of wind around the ground, but conditions certainly improving as this game has gone on. Certainly overhead as well with blue skies. As the Rucks go at it now, it's going to be Harmon up against Liam Reid. Reid won it to the front of the contest there, but West Preston Lakeside had the numbers, and now McDonough sends a left foot kick inside forward 50. Might have taken a touch on the way through. No, it hasn't, and Jack Johnston has paid the mark. 50 out from his defensive goal.
That's what he's been able to do so well throughout this season, throughout his career, is just float back with the ball and take those intercept marks.
Johnston kicks long to the wing on the outer side. Fennell tried to fly for the footy. He's done that a few times today, but hasn't quite pulled it off. Out the back waits Tom Bell, who stands and slams it forward. Up towards the 50. Tickles underneath it. Couldn't win the contest, and West Preston Lakeside again alert to the situation. They commit numbers defensively. Not a great kick though from Dreer, but it was made to work by Clark, who took a fantastic mark ahead of Callaway, and then sends a long ball out to the near side where Bedford cuts it off, and Greensborough will enter again. It's back and forth footy. Callaway has it left half forward. He looked for the handball, but will keep it in his own hands. And he might, well, surely this is too difficult of an angle. He might have a set shot here or send it to the top of the goal square. He does the latter instead. To the goal square it goes, and underneath it is Dreer, who marks perfectly well. Anticipated that nicely. Top of the defensive goal square, and West Preston Lakeside have it at fullback.
So the Roosters can now exit their defensive line here. They're just going to chip the ball. And it's Zakua who has the football. Told to move on by the umpire now. Zakua sends a high ball towards halfback. Johnston's the only one who really wants that footy. Flies at it, takes an uncontested mark, about 55 out from goal. And now Johnston, he looks outside. Callaway was there. Now he's going to go more dangerously, so to speak. Goes deep in the pocket, and Tom Bell's taken the mark. The ball seemed to not spin properly off the boot of Johnston, but it was always in the path of Bell, and he takes the mark deep in the forward pocket, about 30 from goal, but only 5 metres in from the boundary.
What Jack Johnston did there really well, he kind of looked towards Callaway, who was on the boundary line. I think 4 West Preston players took about 4 or 5 steps towards Callaway's direction, and Johnston just cut back inside and hit Bell with a great kick. So Bell with a big chance to put Greensborough's first on the board for this second half.
So Tom Bell now has one for the day, which came courtesy of a shot from point-blank range in the first term. This a much harder effort, but to the same end of the ground. Bell comes in. He starts it right, in fact left, and it stayed left. Not a bad effort, but always narrow. And Greensborough moves to 5-3-33. West Preston Lakeside 3 goals, 2-20 in the opening 4 minutes of this term, guys. That belong to the Greensborough Footy Club.
It's been hard to come by a goal today. 8 goals all up. West Preston Lakeside will try and use the corridor. Urcolano swung around, just got a disposal away. Marotta lost the football though. And Greensborough have it back through Tynan Smith.
Now this will be
Charlie
interesting here.
Molyneux, yeah, and there's a second one. So 2 players have gone down. Charlie Molyneux first was decked in the back, and then Michael Urcolano not long after.
That's so silly by Chris Clark. I reckon that was going to be 50 because the ball was further up the field and Molyneux got upended, and now it's reversed and it comes back to Urcolano on his defensive 50. So the square up is punished and Greensborough lose a great opportunity there.
Again, they'll use the corridor. Urcolano bangs it right up the middle. He's found Signorello, who marks, and he drives it with a piercing kick inside the forward 50, looking for Sard, but it bounces too far beyond him and out over the boundary line in the left forward pocket, 10 metres around from the West Preston Lakeside goal. 5-3-33 Greensborough to West Preston, 3-2-20.
So the ball to be thrown back into play. Deep in the West Preston Lakeside attacking 50 here. A great chance, their best of this third term. Reed against Harmon. Harmon taps it down. Ball in dispute. Bell just paddled it forward. Bunny side 5 or so metres. Hard footy to win this one. So many numbers around it. Upended handball comes out. A chance. Great tackle laid. And in fact, it's been called too high, has it? So it's a West Preston Lakeside free kick. And it's going to come out to, is it Matt Signorello, who was caught high on that occasion there. And he'll be shooting from 40 metres out, almost directly in front.
Just an unfortunate tackle. I think Liam Reid just, unfortunately, is the taller man in that contest and just got him high. So Cinderella lining up now.
So Matt Signorello, a key inclusion for today's game. Greensborough was unchanged. Signorello and Newsel coming in for West Preston Lakeside. He's going to start his approach from just outside 50. He'll kick from 40. Signorello to the city end to cut the margin to 6. He's cut it wide. That's the Greensborough fans who are appreciating that one. In fact, it's back to 12 points now. We saw the early behind to Tom Bell. And West Preston Lakeside moves to 3-3-21. Greensborough 5-3-33, and a wasted chance there for the Roosters.
Greensborough look to counter-attack quickly using the outer side once more. And that hotel wing has been used a lot this afternoon. It'll be full of boot marks by the end of today. Ball's gone out of play. 33 plays 21. Those Greensborough fans at the city end screaming like banshees whenever a West Preston Lakeside player has a kick.
They had the best view of it, didn't they? They were directly behind it, but that one always sprayed out right as Harmon won the tap down. It's that man again. Signorello kicks a ball inside forward 50. It's going to go deep. Johnston read it best, took it first up, didn't complete the mark, then just got a kick away. Now we have a foot race. Leading it is McIver Clark. Can he cut inside? He tried to. Kemp caught him in a beautiful tackle, holding the ball, and Nick Kemp wins the free kick at half forward. Might have got an errant knock in the face there. Kemp holds his left eye there, but he looks okay, and he sends a long ball inside attacking 50. Where are the Flyers? Big Spoil's come right to the goal line, and it's in for a minor score. That Spoil's gone 30 metres to the defensive goal line. And West Preston goes to 3-4-22, trailing Greensborough 5-3-33 in a low-scoring affair in the 2019 Meadows Greyhounds Division 1 Grand Final.
Inside 2 goals now, West Preston, 11 points the margin. Nick Riddle by default goes out to the far side of the ground, but he's kicked out of bounds on the full. It's gone over the boundary and the fence. And so Max Dreer will have it 55 out. He'll run around on the right boot and drive it long inside the forward line. Into the hot spot, Riddle stands underneath it, goes through the hands of Johnston. It's pursued by Signorello to the pocket. Scotty's got his way out of a tackle, or did he? Whistle's gone. I think he may have stepped over the boundary as McClendon had him all sewn up. And so it'll be thrown in 15 metres around. Low scoring term so far, 3 behinds through the first 8.5 minutes. As it was in the second quarter as well, just 1-1 apiece. Haven't really had much to do on the scoreboard of the scorekeepers since quarter time. Ball thrown back in, West Preston Lakeside slowly trying to get the momentum back in their favour as McDonough has it in a tackle at left half forward for the Roosters. And again, they'll have a stoppage inside their forward 50. This time hard up against the boundary, left half forward, a throw up. Quickly taken by the umpire. La Rossi gets out of handball to Vincent Torrio, who wanted to break free and zip towards goal, but he was caught in a two-man tackle, and another stoppage in the same spot.
Obviously, we know the class of these two sides. That's why they're playing off in a grand final. But the tackling pressure from both been absolutely outstanding. Rarely have we seen too many tackles, go high. I know we saw the last one to Signorello, but so often the ball's just been kept in congestion because the tackling pressure is that good that neither side's able to get any clean play out of these stoppages. As the ball now thrown up, Sard went without the footy. Now that's maybe a high one. Just maybe put the Moz on there for Greensborough, and the free kick's going to go to West Preston Lakeside. And it's Luke LaRossi who won the hard ball and got the high one to the back of the neck. And now Luke LaRossi will shoot from maybe 30 metres out from goal, 10 metres in from the boundary line. We saw him miss one late in the first quarter from the opposite pocket. This time shooting from the Mary Street side of the ground, and a chance to cut the margin back to 5 points if he can convert. Luke LaRossi comes in now. Premiership player with the Roosters last year. He's been a club best and fairest. Can he kick an important goal here? He likes it off the boot. He's kicked the goal, and West Preston Lakeside has 2 in a row to move to 4 goals, 4-28. Greensborough 5-3-33, margin back to 5 points, 10 minutes into the third term.
Oh, it's an important goal for West Preston because, as we said, they just needed to get something going with this win in this third quarter as we cross to Robert Winston on the boundary line.
Yeah, boys, just had a chat to Nathan Ballard there. He's the co-captain of West Preston. He's still on the bench. He claimed that there's nothing wrong with his right calf, but he's certainly stretching it. Looking to come back on, but it'll be interesting to see if he does, because he looks in quite a bit of pain down here on Bantry side.
Interesting proceedings on the boundary for West Preston, but on the scoreboard they are within 1 goal now, 5 points of difference. The centre clearance won by Fennell. Around the corner, he slaps it to centre half forward. Punched back into the centre square though by West Preston defenders getting back. Dreer came bullocking through the pack. Handball still comes out the way of Molyneux, who doesn't quite sit up for him. He's got 4 white shirts around him. They envelop him, they encircle him, and they bring him to the grounds. On the right front corner of the centre square, favouring Greensborough's attacking half. 5-3-33 Greensborough, 4-4-28 at West Preston Lakeside.
Ball thrown up, Reed went at it, came down, and now a long kick comes out of it from Usul. High up and under ball to centre half forward where a mark's been taken. And it's Crapper playing in front. Goes quickly, open forward line, Sard's out. Can he put the Roosters in front? Will it sit up for him? Sard gets it, breaks the McClendon tackle, and West Preston Lakeside has the lead here in the third term via Ahmed Sard. The fast break, and the Roosters have moved to 5-4-34. They lead Greensborough 5-3-33, and after trailing by 18 points during the second term, it's 3 unanswered goals, and West Preston takes the advantage halfway through this third term.
That's a rare mistake from Nick Riddle. I think he just came to kind of affect the spoil on that mark from Crapper, and Sard just noticed that and bolted towards the goals and was able to get that quick kick over the top. Just something I noticed when Luke LaRossi was lining up a bit earlier. The runner actually came to Sard and spent about 15 seconds giving him a message. Wonder if there's a change in his role in this second half.
It's been about 45 minutes since West Preston have led this game, but they do now by 1 point. Ben Fennell, high kick to the forward 50. Centre half forward players coming in from all angles. They lock it up. And this West Preston Lakeside defence, as well as the forward line, who have got the team back in front, are finding their feet, and they have locked up everything Greensborough have thrown at them from a forward foray perspective. 5-3-33 Greensborough, 5-4-34 West Preston Lakeside. 12.5 minutes in the third term. Ball thrown back up. A kick further inside the forward 50 here for Greensborough. McIver-Clark with the pick-up. Fennell with the handoff. McIver-Clark again, but the pressure is immense from West Preston. Signorello picks it off and they clear up to the boundary on the wing, and it goes out of play. This Roosters defence is coming into its own now in the premiership decider.
Certainly, and Signorello's having a big impact, isn't he, now as well? He was the one who stole that footy after Greensborough looked dangerous inside their attacking 50. So look at the Greensborough, in fact the West Preston Lakeside forwards, they've all rolled up pretty high. It's a pretty open forward 50 at the moment. Only Aiden Tilley's inside forward 50 and he's right on the paint. So the ball comes down, one down convincingly. That was by Harmon. Now McDonough, can he run onto this footy? It just didn't quite sit up for him there, and all he could really do was tap it out of bounds for a throw in. So we've gone in this third term now. We've gone past the 13-minute mark. It's West Preston 5-4-34, leading Greensborough 5-3-33. Ahmed Sard, the only multiple goal scorer on the ground. He's kicked 2. including the one to put the Roosters back in front a few moments ago. Umpire throws it back into play. Reed won it down that time there, but again, it's extracted by the West Preston man in Signorello. Didn't kick this time, took a bounce. Can he take a second? No, he's going to handball over to Tobin, who's in space. Will he load up? Chisels the ball. It's a terrible pass inside 50, and Nick Riddle takes the intercept mark, and the Roosters had all the momentum there. Sard was on the lead, just a poor kick inside.
Yeah, really poor entry from Tobin. So Riddle at centre half back. He spreads the play to the far side. He's kicked to a 1-on-2, but the one takes the mark. His teammate Josh Callaway will have to retreat a long way, about 20 metres to grab it. Right half back on the edge of defensive 50. Callaway loads up and sends one for the Flyers on the wing. Underneath it in front position was Drea, who is claiming the mark. He had front position and he gets it.
Federico's just snuck on here. It's a long way away, but if they can get it in quickly.
So Drea loads up, right-footed kick to centre half forwards. Underneath it, mark not taken. It was Signorello who was lurking. Harmon was there as well, but Greensborough try and rebound out of defence. Haynes is there. West Preston Lakeside turn up the pressure once again. Clark comes steaming through. Bell is caught. They have targeted the Rosbrook medalist all day today, and again he has 3 tacklers hanging off him. It'll be a ball up next to the centre circle.
So pivotal couple of minutes coming up here as we've gone halfway through this third term. Harmon won it down. He's been enormous in the ruck today. Federico went without it, but lays the tackle on McNamara, and we'll have a ball up centre of Preston City Oval with West Preston 34 leading Greensborough 33. As the rucks go at it again right in the middle of the ground. McNamara tried to almost grab that out the middle, but it's Federico who extracts. Kicks towards centre half forward. Big Flyers come at it. Crapper couldn't take the mark. At ground level, West Preston have the numbers, and Urcolano kicks inside 50. Nearly a mark to Tilly. Had to try and beat 2. Johnston rebounded fastest. Got it on to Haynes, who kicks up towards centre wing. Over the head of Fennell. Picked up by McIver Clark. Good handball to Fennell, who in turn got it over to Molyneux. Throws it on the boot. Unfortunately, lands in the lap of Jacob Ireland. He's got men in board. He cuts to one of them. Bell, he's blindsided. Usual wrapped him up in a tackle. He gets the handball away, but it's cut off by Jackson Clark.
And they'll springboard forward. Clark takes a bounce, takes the second one. The second one never came back to him. He tried to paddle it forward. McNamara cuts it off. Molyneux with the kick. It's a grabbing kick inside the forward 50. Stellis took the mark downfield. Free kick, West Preston.
Yeah, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, isn't it? Really taking the mark, hadn't he?
It stayed with Greensborough, so Stellis redirects it in the forward line. Callaway was clattered as the ball reached him, and he got the free kick.
We'll get Rob Winston to keep an eye on Dan McClendon as well, but also a few that are coming from the bench. They're all pretty tired, but McClendon ran away with a trainer, but he's going to stay on the ground, but looks to be okay. So ball now back with Josh Callaway, and he'll have a chance to give Greensborough back the lead.
He has scored 1 goal so far today, Josh Callaway. It was almost from the exact same position in the first quarter to level the game up after West Preston scored the opening 2 goals of the game. Greensborough then scored 4 in a row to take a 2-goal leads into quarter time, which they maintained at half time after a quiet second term, but the third quarter has been lively. Callaway trots in, sleeves rolled up, halfway up his forearms. Kick is on the way, and it just sneaks in for a behind. At a risk of going out of bounds on the full, but registers 1 score. And like in the first quarter, Josh Callaway levels the scores, 5-4-34 apiece.
Robert Winston, boundary side.
Yeah, finally Nathan Valadares, the vice captain, he's just run on, so he's been off for the best part of a quarter and a half, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes once he's just back on the field now.
As the ball's cut off from the kick in, it's cut off by Croxford, who goes back to the corridor. He's got John Desmond who can play on straight away. Desmond, chiseled ball inside 50. It finds Brody Tickle, who juggles the mark right on the paint of 50. Kramer's Hotel side. You feel with this win, he's too far out to score. His eyes are darting. He knows he doesn't have to carry in here, Tickle, so he might just sit it up. Puts a high ball, plenty of air into it. Bell's going to fly from deep in front through the hands of Johnston there. Gets to the back of the pack. Rabordala just threw it on the boot, but it's straight down the throat of Desmond, who marks it centre half forward. Can the Greensborough man move it quickly? He's got runners going by. One's Bedford. Measures the ball inside 50. On the bounce, finds McIver Clark. He handballs to a teammate in Fennell, who was under the pump straight away. Now Signorello strips the footy. Handball wide for Tobin. Tried to break through a tackle. He couldn't do that. And there's a ball up 45 out from the Greensborough game. And gee, has the intensity risen here in the last 5 minutes. Scores are level. 18 minutes into the third term, 34 points apiece.
It certainly has, and you just think Greensborough just picking up their intensity as well, and they're really getting themselves into this game.
18 and a half minutes have expired in the third quarter. Still haven't reached time on yet. Great mark from Nick Riddle. It was a high ball. He was underneath it for a long time with opponents around him, but he pouched it nicely at centre half back. And now he'll switch the play, but it's not a great kick. It favours Garrett McDonough. It'll bounce out in his favour. Jack Johnson is hot on his heels. He's got Callaway closing in, but McDonough did brilliantly. Paddled it to Vincent Torrio, who goes with a short kick to Valadares. Back on the field, the captain, and swung forward. And he swings the kick to the forward 50. Sard was the target, but it was just beyond him. And it's gone out of bounds on the full. And Nick Riddle will take the free in the back pocket.
So Riddle has the ball as we tick past the 19-minute mark of the third term. Riddle sends a high one towards half-back. Hands to it, McNamara didn't take the mark. Now Callaway's caught in the tackle, and we'll have a ball up on the far side of the ground. So 19 minutes played, 5-4-34 apiece. This quarter, West Preston 2 goals to Greensborough, the 2 behinds. It was 12 points to Greensborough at half-time. Scores are level now as the ball's taken by Ben Fennell. Kick hugs the boundary line towards high half-back. Stellis attacked the footy, couldn't take the mark. West Preston had numbers down, but the kick forward only went as far as Cataldo. 15 not paid, so he sends the ball towards Ben Panham. He couldn't trap it, but he lays a good tackle on James Tad, and I reckon Stellis might have done an ankle here at the back of all this, as the West Preston ball inside 50 is cut off by Adrian Cataldo, but Andrew Stellis is the one to keep an eye on. He looks in a world of pain as he gets back to his feet now.
Trainers came sprinting out straight away when they saw him clutching at his left ankle. Cataldo hits it long to the wing. Underneath it, McDonald came flying in from the back and extinguishes the play for a boundary throw in. There are great blue skies over at the market end and gloomy grey clouds closing in at the city end.
Whistle blown off the ball into blood rule, and I don't think Stellis is the man. It might be, in fact, maybe it is Stellis. In fact, it is. So I thought he was carrying an ankle, but
so did I.
He was grabbing the foot, but also it looks like there's blood coming from the nose as well. So he makes the long trip off the ground. He was on the far side and now has to run the entire width of Preston City Oval. So as we wait for Andrew Stellis to come back, we'll give another score update. We've gone 20 and a half minutes, third term. Greensborough 34, West Preston 34. Greensborough's last goal at the 4-minute mark of the second term via Ben Fennell. That now seems an eternity ago. West Preston with the last 3 goals, and the reigning premier have tied proceedings as the umpire, the boundary, throws it in. McNamara convincingly won that one over Tilly. Got it down to Chris Clark, who spoons a handball forward, and it's out of bounds on true centre wing, far side of the ground, as the clouds just get darker and darker over Preston City Oval, and you get the feeling that we're going to see rain at some point in the final 40 minutes of this premiership decider.
One of the closest games they've had this season, Greensborough. Their only loss was a 2-point loss to Heidelberg. The other closest ones, 12, 15 and 21 points to margin. So never have they been in a game where the margin has been less than 2 goals and they've won. And that's what we've got, almost what we've got here today. Scores are level, 21 and a half minutes into the third term. 5-4-34 apiece. West Preston and Greensborough Division 1 Grand Final on Plenty Valley FM. It's bouncing on the wing. Signorello came through. He was crunched in a bone-rattling tackle. Getting up and sprinting away was Ben Panham. Luke LaRossi peels himself up off the floor. The last one to get up. Ball thrown back up. Signorello, Federico, I beg your pardon, somehow got it onto the boot. Coming in over the top was Cataldo, who reached in and took it. Wasn't 15, so he had to handball it away quickly, and it stays among the throng of humanity on the outer side of the grounds. The umpire will come in and throw it up once again. 34 apiece.
Ball still in the centre square. Hasn't moved too far in the past minute or two, but now it might, because it was handballed out by McCubbin, but his handball was low to Fennell. He had to go searching for it. Then he got it back to McCubbin, who just throws the ball on the boot towards half forward. West Preston had the numbers. McDonald laid the spoil. Got it down to Clark, who kicks dangerously across the face of goal. Tobin did well, but he's swarmed by a sea of Greensborough men. Tynan Smith wrapped him up, and we're going to have a ball up, and I think Jackson Clark feels pretty relieved at the moment. Mitch Tobin did pretty well to nullify that contest.
Oh, he did very well. He was outnumbered almost 3-1 and prevented Greensborough from taking possession.
Yeah, it was an interesting kick from Jackson Clark, because he just didn't need to go short. He could have gone long down the line. Going with the wind, it would have been a good kick.
Fennell's handball picked off by McDonough. He was looking for Maciver Clark. Now here goes Tads. He's found Ercolano, who was pushed off the kick as he got it away. It was made to work by a great mark on the outer side by Sards, who swings the play back into the corridor. Almost intercepted there by Cataldo, who came flying through but couldn't quite hold possession. And the ball in dispute was pounced upon by 2 or 3 players from either side. It'll be thrown up at centre half forwards. Robert Winston.
Yeah, Andrew Stellis is getting his left ankle strapped here, boys, so he's obviously rolled it, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes coming into this last quarter.
Yeah, he
Cop the double whammy then.
Yeah, but he looked in real considerable pain, didn't he, when he first went down the far side? So the telling one, can he return? Ball back thrown up by the umpire. McNamara won it. No one could take it cleanly. Tilly picked it up. He was taken down in a massive tackle, brought to ground, and now the ball continues on. But McNamara's held up as just minutes just tick off the clock here. It's been some time since the most recent goal of this game, 12 minutes, when Ahmed Saad put the Roosters up by a point. Scores have since been drawn level, but a chance for Greensborough through for Nell. Kicks the ball to about 30 out from goal, spills down. Good work there by Costanzo. Got it onto Tobin, who's been good. Sends a high ball wide. Where's this one going to pitch? In the field of play, and it trickles towards the boundary line. Jared Gardner.
It's such a cliche, but you just feel like the next goal is so important, because if Greensborough can get one into the win before three-quarter time, then they're going to go into three-quarter time saying, well, we just have to continue running away with this one and just kick towards the city end, get it long down the forward line and hold it in there for the last quarter.
A one-goal difference can be all the difference in a low-scoring game like this. 34 apiece, almost at three-quarter time. Great smother off the boot of McDonough. Greensborough trying to keep it in their favour, and then Croxford takes a nice mark. 3 deep, defensive side of the wing, and he maintains possession for Greensborough. 24 and a half minutes gone. Thumped long by Croxford. Out towards half forward. It went through the hands of Bell. Hits the deck, and Dreer's there. Tilly's there as well. Picked up by Tickle, and Smith tries to run away with it. McIver Clark, the boundary line closed in. It'll be thrown in 50 metres around it, right half forward from the Greensborough goal. 5-4-34 apiece so far in this game. 25 minutes gone. Third quarter. 88.6 Plenty Valley FM. This is the Meadows Greyhounds Division 1 Grand Final for 2019 at Preston City Oval. McNamara with the tap. Barely got it a few metres away from the throw-in. And hits the grounds. Rebortal is there. The umpire will throw it up just inside the 50 at Greensborough's attacking end.
Everyone here fully engrossed in this game here. It's not high scoring, but when it's close in the grand final, what more could you ask for? Ball inside 50 for Greensborough. Perhaps a chance here. Ball tapped forward. Clark was over it, caught by Rebortala. And the umpire calls for it again. The umpires, they've had the ball on a string all day, haven't they? Just the amount of second and third stoppages we've had to have. So many numbers around this footy here. 30 out from the Greensborough goal. McNamara, clean tap, but it was picked off by Federico, who took it at pace and kicked the ball towards half-back. Jack Johnston had front position, didn't take the mark, but kept a strong presence over the ball. Now it comes out, but it's going to go West Preston's way. Valadares had to wait under it, was just worried out by Cataldo, who continued his run. Cataldo kept in by Clark. Here to go for the Roosters, but a great tackle by Desmond on centre wing, and the ball now is hand-passed out of bounds. John Desmond. That was a crucial tackle, out of bounds, grandstand side with the scores locked at 34 points apiece.
And a good sign for Greensborough. Andrew Stiles has done some run-throughs on the bench, so he'll look to get back on the ground as soon as possible.
Dark grey clouds continue to cross over Preston City Oval. Half the ground now covered by charcoal grey. Ball thrown back in. It's Tilly who thumps it forward. Fennell works a handball defensively. Coming through and picking it up is Desmond. He's got it off to a teammate. Haynes clears it away. High kick to centre half forward. Underneath it, fine mark taken by Smith, and he played on quickly. The siren sounds. If he had gone back over the mark, he could have had a shot at goal from 50 for the Leeds. Greensborough staff on the bench have their hands covering their foreheads in despair.
Well, I think
we're not, though, because it's level at three-quarter time, Samuel.
I think it wasn't so much about Tynan Smith there playing on. I think the fact was they had two men running into the open goal, and the siren beat both of them. They were away if that ball had stayed, or that siren hadn't sounded, but it went 27 minutes through, and at three-quarter time of the 2019 Meadows Greyhounds Division 1 Grand Final, scores are level. Greensborough 5-4-34. West Preston Lakeside 5-4-34. Jordan Canellis, what more could you ask for than the premiership hanging on the final 30 minutes of the season?
This is great. We're level at three-quarter time, 1 quarter to go in the season. We all tipped Greensborough coming in, and fairly so as well. Greensborough have been the best team all season. 18-1 through the season, both home and away, and including finals. 18-1 their win-loss record. They've been brilliant. They've had a percentage of almost 200% this season, so they've been blitzing teams all year long. West Preston Lakeside, though, coming in on a hot streak. 13 of the last 15 games they've won. Winning streaks all season long. They play brilliantly on Preston City Oval. They're the reigning premiers against the best team through the regular season, and it's all square. This is exactly the right formula you want for a grand final, and there's about half an hour to play.
What will it come down to? A moment of brilliance, perhaps the side maybe who plays better in the rain, because there are some very, very dark clouds hovering low over Preston City Oval. And Jordan, not a meteorologist, but you'd be pretty confident looking at those that we're going to get rain at some point in the last quarter.
There has to be a bit of rain in that. But The juxtaposition, the contrast is so glaring. You look out array to our left at the Preston market end, and you just see great blue skies, clouds only off in the distance. It's brilliant baby blue, and then you look over to your right, and it's the most vicious, apocalyptic-looking dark grey clouds you could imagine, and that's the one that's coming over the ground and dominating. So there might be some showers in the last quarter, and it might, as you said, it might well come down to who plays better in the wet. Funny thing is, West Preston Lakeside play well in the wet, but Greensborough have the hard-bodied midfielders who would love nothing more than even more contests. So even that could be a leveller in this match.
Well, it all comes down to this. It's three-quarter time of the 2019 Meadows Greyhounds Division 1 Grand Final. Greensborough 5-4-34. All square with West Preston Lakeside 5-4-34. This broadcast coming to you live on the NFNL Facebook page and also over the airwaves of your local station, 88.6 Plenty Valley FM.
Take that run. Let's fight the corner. Control the footy. Set up the foot. Okay. Work through my foot a moment. And we hold.
Taking the stairs.
Welcome back to the broadcast of the 2019 Meadows Greyhounds Division 1 Grand Final, and it is all square at three-quarter time. Greensborough 5-4-34, West Preston Lakeside 5-4-34. You couldn't ask for anything more. Goal scorers to the last break for Greensborough, singles to Josh Callaway, also to Charlie Molyneux, Ben Fennell, Tom Bell and Matthew Haynes. For West Preston Lakeside, it was two goals to Ahmed Saad, the only multiple goal scorer on the ground. Singles to Mitch Tobin, to Alex Federico and to Luke LaRossi. Greensborough hasn't kicked the goal, Jordan, since the 4-minute mark of the second quarter. Can they find a way to break through this rigid West Preston Lakeside defence, or do we see West Preston Lakeside win back-to-back premierships and become the first club to do that in a decade in the top flight?
Well, Greensborough have to find a way to score goals. Luckily for them, one of the scariest elements of their team is their spread of goal scorers. 95 goals this season they've scored across their key midfielders. Ben Fennell, Zach McCubbin, Charlie Molyneux and Tom Bell. You combine their goal tallies this season, 95 coming into today, and each of them have about a goal as well. Charlie Molyneux's got one, Ben Fennell's got one, Tom Bell has one as well.
Turn around.
And so that's where the goals can come
Boys,
from. But West Preston Lakeside of Ahmed Saad. Robert Winston.
Oh, you missed him, boys. I just had Tom Bell, but unfortunately, yeah, had to go in the middle.
But what's the message from Mick Harford at three-quarter time there, Robert Winston?
They just said, simple as this, we've been the best side all year. We deserve this. Let's stand up as men. Some memories they'll cherish forever if they can kick with this kick with the advantage in this last quarter, and they feel very confident at the Borough. So they've got the win advantage, and it'll be huge if they can get the job done for Greensborough in 2019.
So Robert Winston there, boundary side, the Greensborough huddle break, so too the West Preston Lakeside one. All square, three-quarter time. As a neutral, you couldn't ask for anything more. I'm sure there's nothing more nerve-wracking than for these two sides to go into the last, knowing it comes down to this. But what other position would you want to be in? Where would you rather be than at Preston City Oval with the scores locked at 34 points apiece at three-quarter time? Potential of rain. It's very dark now, and this is going to be one of the great finishes to a grand final we've seen in the Northern Football Netball League.
Not to gloat or anything, but this is why the NFNL is the best Metro League going around. Full respect to the other competitions, but in those other Metro leagues, you sort of know who's going to win. There's been grand finalists who have won the last 7 flags in a row. Not here, different premier for the last 10 years straight, and you've got no idea which way this game's going to go. Greensborough are the best team in the home and away season. They haven't looked that good really in the last 2 quarters, and West Preston Lakeside coming home with the flurry, although not exactly overpowering Greensborough just yet. They are balanced perfectly, both in momentum and on the scoreboard. We basically start fresh. Scores are level, 1 quarter to play. Whoever's better now will win the flag.
So here it comes down to the crowd. You can hear the anticipation below. 34 each as we turn to the last. Ball's in the middle. Take it away, Jordan Canellis.
1 quarter to go in 2019, and this is exactly where we want to be. 34 apiece, and we are back underway. Reed got the tap. Fennell won the handball out. It trickles out the side. Tobin's wrapped up by McCubbin. The umpire calls for it. Chris Stead, Nathan Thornycroft and Andrew O'Neill have been exemplary today in their umpiring. Ball thrown back up. Nat Signorello dives on top of the footy. The near edge of the centre square. 88.6 Plenty Valley FM, streaming live on Facebook. Samuel Zito, Jordan Canellis with you. Jared Gardner analysing things, and Robert Winston on the boundary. Ball thrown back up, it's punched away, trying to bustle his way through the pack is LaRossi. It's ripped clear of him by Molyneux, who jams the kick away towards half forward. It bounces back to neutral territory on the wing, and players come in from all directions. Signorello tried to rip it clear. Umpire calls for it.
Jared Gardner, you listen to Rob Majorana at 3/4 time?
Yeah, they're very confident down there at the West Preston huddle. They think they can run out this game and put in a strong last quarter performance to win their second premiership in as many years.
So Bell caught Signorello there, and the ball's tied up at half forward for Greensborough. 1 minute played, final term. And the ball hasn't moved any more than 50 metres as the ball tapped down to Tobin, couldn't take it. Here's a chance for Greensborough. Molyneux got a high one, allowed to go on there. And we have a ball up, 55 out from the Greensborough goal there. Faithful thought that Molyneux was caught high. Umpire, to his credit, was completely blindsided there. He was on the far side of that pack. As Reed wrestles with Harmon, ball tapped down, Panham's lurking, Signorello's in there, Tobin caught up by Panham. We'll have a ball up, 50 out from the Greensborough goal, kicking to the city end in this last term. 10 goals have been kicked today. Amazingly though, it's been a pretty even split, and despite the wind blowing to the city end, it hasn't given a real scoring advantage. The ball, 50 out from the Greensborough goal, pinballs around, Signorello dives in it, and we'll have a ball up, 50 out from the Borough goal.
It feels like the wind is blowing straight across the ground now. It really isn't favouring either side. It's probably just to the city end, but more across the ground.
So ball thrown back up on half forward. It bounces again back out to the wing. Molyneux was there, sticking his head underneath was Jack Johnston. Handball was shoveled out to Molyneux, who thumps a high kick to the forward 50. Bell was the target, but paddled away by Clark. It was brilliant defensive work. Haven't quite dealt with it yet. It's Tynan Smith, who was on the skids, tumbling to grounds, got a boot to it, but it bounces out for a behind. And a behind that gives Greensborough the lead for the second time today by 1 point.
Borough fans are clapping the behind, maybe because it puts them in front, but 2 minutes in, it's a long way out, but they're clapping that one as McDonough played on straight away, went straight down the middle here, and the ball hangs in the balance. It falls, kicked forward for the Roosters towards half forward, but leading the foot race is going to be Billy Bedford. He traps it. He's got a man to handball to, but it was a poor hand pass to the ankles, gave him plenty of work to do, and now it's locked up. Half forward for West Preston Lakeside to quickly transition defence into attack.
I think the Greensborough fans, any point in the last quarter where the scores were tied is a good point. So be happy to get any score on the board here as West Preston look to go forward from this Boundary Pavilion.
3 minutes gone in the last quarter of the grand final, Division 1. Bell's handball bounces up the wing. He goes in for a second bite. Cut off though by McDonough, who worked it off to Harmon, who awkwardly gets the ball inside forward 50. Sard was leading out. Bounces off his chest. Urcolano comes through. Measures the kick to full forward. Tilly's there. Out the back. Toe poke LaRossi. It's a goal. West Preston Lakeside leads. It was brilliant work from the small midfielder forwards. He read it off the hands. That's all you need to do. The big forward couldn't take the mark. The crummer was there. And West Preston Lakeside retake the lead. 6-4-40. Greensborough 5-5-35.
And of note, Aidan Tilley starting forward. We saw him in the second term play behind the football in the back line. They've put him forward. They have to obviously win the game. You can't save it when it's all square at 3/4 time. Didn't take the mark there, but obviously draws defenders to him. Got the ball down, and LaRossi kicks the crumbing goal from the goal line. So it's the Roosters by 5 points. Ball back in the middle. Heavily in dispute here. It's been hard for either side to extract cleanly throughout the day. Federico turned 360 in the tackle, and there'll be a ball up. Centre circle here with West Preston 40, leading Greensborough 35. 4 minutes played a game. We saw a moment ago the importance of Garrett McDonough on that thumping left foot kick, just gets them out of attack and gets them rebounding out of the back line. Molyneux's going to take this one from the contest. His kick only went 5 metres. Now it ricochets. LaRossi, little toe poke, only went as far as Jack Johnston. Left foot kick towards half forward, caught behind there. Was doing some great work was Panham. Somehow took the footy, spears the ball towards full forward, but no one's home. And taking the intercept mark was Nathan Valadares, playing in front for West Preston Lakeside.
That was exceptional defensive work from Nathan Valadares. He anticipated that wonderfully well. And then skies a long kick out to the wing. Players fly. It's off the hands of Crapper. Out the back, around the corner was Kemp, who sends it long back up to the wing. Sard leads out strong. He's 2 kicks from home. He bounces off the bodies coming at him, and the ball bounces out of play in front of him. 5-5-35 Greensborough. 6-4-40 West Preston. It's the Roosters who lead the Borough by 5 points. 5 minutes into the last quarter.
Andrew Stellas coming back out onto the ground now, replacing Jake McNamara. As the ball to be thrown in far side, Wayward throw in. It favoured Reid, who just grabbed it at the ruck. Handball to Cataldo, who ran into the wall there. Clark tries to scrap, did really well, the skipper of Greensborough, but his toe poke effort only went as far as Garrett McDonough, who kicks the ball inside 50. It bounces towards the boundary line, and we'll have a throw in. 50 out from the West Preston goal. We're now in this last term, 5.5 minutes in, and it's the Roosters, the reigning premier, leading by 5 points.
So the throw in to take place just inside the 50. It comes back in. Harmon tried to win it down. Coming through Marotta, spinning through the tackle. He was wrapped around 360, never disposed
That'll
of it.
be 50 as well. It was Paul holding the ball, and the West Preston Lakeside player just had the shot afterwards. There was no need to do it, and it's a 50-metre penalty that advances Greensborough from the last line of the fence right up now to the middle of the ground.
Just need to take advantage of this opportunity. It's been they've been few and far between in this second half for both sides. So now if they can get this ball long inside forward 50, get a mark or just get a crumb and get a goal here, go a long way to winning this one.
So it's Greensborough's footy, defensive side of the centre circle. Bedford, he spreads the play to the outer side. It's through the hands of Cataldo, who goes in again. Molyneux it is. Spins around through traffic. His kick hugs the boundary and it goes out of play.
Interesting decision from that kick from the middle of the ground to play it wide. You think get into a dangerous spot, a true full forward. They went wide. Molyneux couldn't take the mark, and then his kick, you're just playing for touch then, aren't you, really? You're not getting into a dangerous spot.
Has been their mode of operation most times today. Greensborough enter the forward 50 through the flanks, not necessarily through the corridor. There's a quick kick out of the pack. It dribbles along the grounds and is aimed about 5 metres wide of the Greensborough goal throw-in.
So more than 2 quarters since Greensborough's last goal. We're 7 minutes now into this last quarter. Can they find a way through this West Preston Lakeside defence that's been impenetrable? They've only conceded 99 points in their first 3 finals, only 35 today, and they're defending rigidly here. McDonough just got a kick away. It's in the goal square now. He soccers off the ground. It comes out to Crapper, who was superb. One clean grab, handball towards the boundary line. Tom Bell, did he get one in the back? No, the umpire said Tobin's tackle was legal. And we'll have a ball up, 30 out, 5 metres in from the boundary line.
I thought it was a tough decision to make because Bell obviously got the ball and was dispossessed in the tackle, and Tobin almost fell into his back. Did well just to roll over at the last second and not infringe.
Danger area here for West Preston. Signorello picks it up off the back of the stoppage. Zakura is lurking. Dreer couldn't quite control it. There are green shirts rolling through this pocket of the ground at right half forwards. No one able to extract the footy. It's just desperation stuff. Get in, win it, keep it. Whatever you can do. It'll be a ball up again. 45 metres out in the Greensborough forward half. Tapped forward into the path of Bell, who ran into an opponent dead ahead. Hit a brick wall in the shape of Joel McDonald's. Here's a brick wall in defence, the key defender, the full-back of West Preston. It'll be thrown up once more.
So West Preston's biggest lead, 12 points early in the first term. Greensborough led by 18 during the second, but now it's the Roosters by 5. Ball low deep in their back line. Panham lays a tackle. Robert Winston, boundary side.
Just a quick one here, boys. Chris Clark is getting his hammy done on his right hammy here, so interesting to see. He's probably got a little bit of cramp late in this last quarter.
So the ball now again heavily in dispute, and there's just so many numbers around it. It's hard for any player to get a clean break. Will it just take a moment of greatness here to do something for either side to try and break the congestion we've got here? Ball thrown up. Stellis rucking against Clark. Clark won it down. West Preston have numbers. They're dispossessed though. Ball spills out. Dreer went to soccer off the ground, couldn't quite. Stella slays another tackle, and it's going to be a ball up, 20 out from the Greensborough goal, and the crowd at absolute fever pitch. Jordan Canellis.
And Greensborough are surging. They trail by 5 points. The ball has been in their front half for the last couple of minutes. Bell is there. He was muscled all the way to the goal line. He's on the goal line. Has he got a toe to it?
It's almost like a rugby scrum, isn't it?
It hasn't gone over the line. The umpire will throw it up basically on the paint. In fact, he might have to bring it back a few metres.
And West Preston players can't punch this over on the full.
So it'll be thrown up in the middle of the goal square at the Greensborough end where the fans are all situated. Underneath it, Stellis. He lost it in the air. Zakua tried to paddle it towards the pocket. West Preston have done very well. They've managed to will it wide. And it'll be thrown up just inside the pocket.
I can't recall seeing better tackling in a Northern Football Netball League game than what we've seen today.
Yeah, it's absolutely just ferocious every time the player gets the ball. He's set on. I think there's a few times where it's been 3 or 4 players diving on the player with the ball. So some great tackling all throughout this match.
It's been hard to move in close confines, but Bell is moving nicely here out the back of the pack. He swings it around the body and it goes out of bounds on the full. He was running away from goal and tried to hook it all the way around, but he couldn't drag it back enough. And so the scores remain untouched. And the Greensborough Banshees, they jeer at Garrett McDonough, whose kick goes through the hands of a Greensborough opponent. Out the back, it's Usel. Loops it over the top. They might be open here. Crapper sends it long to centre half forward. Riddle's back there, one-on-one with Sard. They've been battling all day, and Riddle wins that contest.
And now it comes out to Dan McClendon, who took his time, assessed his options, and goes wide to Bedford. Didn't get a kind bounce, but he's got Croxford over the top. Can he find him? Well, he's going to get there on the bounce. Croxford can go down the line now. It's a shank of a kick. Where will this one end up? In the path of Signorello. Couldn't quite get through for Nell's tackle. Got it onto Federico, though. Now to the ruckman, Harmon. Spears a ball for Sard. Sard marks. He plays on. Can he kick the goal? It's bending back, but it's going the wrong way, and it's in for a minor score. And the lead for West Preston now is one straight kick. 6-5-41 the Roosters. Greensborough 5-5-35.
2 goals won for the afternoon for Ahmed Sard as Greensborough. They haven't quite executed the kick out cleanly. Usel's picked it off. Chip inside for Matthew Vincentorio, who wants to play on over the top. And LaRossi's got 2 in the corner. He was waiting in the goal square. And the all clear has been given. West Preston Lakeside kicked 2 goals clear. It's the equal biggest lead they've had today since the opening minutes of the first quarter. And these are meaningful goals in the last. 5-5, play 7-5.
And it's the Roosters by 12 points. They've kicked the last 5 goals unanswered. It started at the 25-minute mark of the second term when Mitch Tobin put one through right before half-time. They've kicked the only 4 goals of this second half, 3 of them from Luke LaRossi. Well, not so much the unlikeness of goal sources, but not one to kick 3, you would have thought. Harmon, he's been superb in the ruck. He kicks a clearance out wide. It's Callaway up against McDonough. It's a real one-on-one. Callaway tried to keep it alive. He hemmed it up against the boundary line. McDonough eventually outbodied him. Soccers it off the ground. It gets to half forward. Crapper tried to keep it in, but it's Jack Johnston who takes the ball away. He takes a bounce. He runs into a teammate. Now he kicks a high ball back through the corridor. Can they get a mark here? Nearly. Bell was cannoned into by his own teammate, and he's hurt. In fact, it's McCubbin. There's wounded soldiers on the ground, but the play goes on, and the umpire's going to call for it. And unfortunately for the Borough, it was friendly fire, and Zach McCubbin looks in a world of pain.
Yeah, he's holding at the right ribs. He collided, seismic collision with Ben Fennell, who was coming back the other way, full of courage as well. But they've hit each other, and it'll just stop the play for a second as the trainers are out tending to Zach McCubbin, who's clearly come off second best. Ben Fennell's back up on his feet. I'm sure still shaken, but Zach McCubbin hasn't yet got himself up off the ground.
Well, what does Greensborough do here, boys, as we have a momentary respite? What do? They just cannot penetrate through this West Preston Lakeside defence. How do they potentially change things up to find their first goal since early in the second term?
I honestly don't know what they can do because they've tried everything in this game and they've tried so many things going forward but just can't find the right mix and getting this one, getting goals against West Preston defence.
As the Roosters now kick a high ball towards centre wing. Is it too wide? It is. It's out of bounds on the full. Just recapping.
Do they try and put Tom Bell in the forward 50?
They might have to do something obscure. West Preston conceded 99 points total in the first 3 finals. They conceded 5 goals in the opening 34 minutes today, haven't conceded one since. It's been a mighty effort right throughout the final series as they look to defend last year's premiership crown.
Long kick up towards half forward. Greensborough on the move down the outer side, but it's been scuppered by West Preston, who get it and kick it back down the other way. Whatever meterage Greensborough just tried to accrue, it's been undone by West Preston as they go back to about 70 metres out, even more actually by the time the boundary umpire comes around. 35-47. It's West Preston Lakeside's leads. Greensborough led by a game high 3 goals at the start of the second term. But since then, the Roosters have ground them down, and now they have the advantage. Federico around the corner, kicks to right half forwards. It bounces out in front of Bedford, and he wrestles with his opponent. Neither of them can rope it in. It'll be thrown back in.
Robert Winston on the boundary.
Just a quick one, boys. Zach McCumber's just come off here in severe pain. His stomach, he's latching onto his stomach, so I think he's copped a heavy knock into that mid-region.
Yeah, it might have been an accidental knee, I reckon, is what got him flush. As the ball falls to the front of the pack, Usel's happy to let it run out of bounds. So we've now gone in this final term at Preston City Oval, 15 minutes. And it's Greensborough stuck on 5-5-35. West Preston Lakeside 7-5-47. Can the Roosters create history and become the first side this decade to win back-to-back premierships, or would Greensborough find a response and claim both the minor flag and also the premiership on grand final day? The umpire calls for the footy once again, and just this congested play is certainly playing into West Preston Lakeside's favour at the moment.
Ball thrown up again. It bounces off hands on the outer sides. It'll be thrown up once more. This is where the game has been played all day long. It's on the hotel wing of the grounds. All the fans who are packed in 5 deep, 6 deep on the grandstand side have barely seen anything up close. There's a throw in this. There's a free kick coming out the way of Croxford for Greensborough. He'll take his kick from the back left corner of the centre square. Indecisive first, so he gets off and runs. He had Ahmed Saad closing down from behind, but he got the kick away to Croxford, but maybe under some pressure. Everyone's under pressure. That one's been intercepted by Kemp, who swings the play to the near side for Aidan Tilley. He's taken the role as the key forwards at times in this final series, but the swing man today, it's a mighty kick towards LaRossi at left half forward. Couldn't hold the mark, but he had company in the form of Usul, who just squeezed the kick away. Inside forward 50, Vincentorio lost it. Cataldo closes, he lays a tackle, he wraps Vincentorio up, and that one's not moving any further. Left half forward, 55 from West Preston's goal, hard out on the boundary.
Greensborough got away with one, didn't they there? Vincentorio marks that. He might have had time to play on or even just go back and have a shot to extend the margin beyond 2 goals. Rucks go at it, falls to LaRossi, caught in a massive tackle by Molyneux, and now will pick himself up 50 out from his attacking goal. It is on the grandstand side, but at the market end, and it's the Roosters 47, the Borough 35, 17 minutes into this last term, and the ball's tapped out of bounds. Robert Winston on the boundary.
Yeah, Nicholas Kemp for West Preston's just come off. He's got a massive right shiner, so I'm not sure what happened, but it's certainly a good one, and he's just come off the bench.
17 minutes gone. Thank you, Robert. On the boundary, Jared Gardner in the commentary box analysing things, and Jordan Canellis and Samuel Zito, your callers. Ball thrown back in at left half forwards. Harmon managed to work it down. Tobin came rolling through the scrimmage. Underneath it, those Clark back on the field. He's caught in a 2-man tackle, and they go tumbling to ground. So it'll be thrown up again on the precipice of the 50 here for West Preston. They lead by 2 goals. It's been that way since the 12th minute. 5.5 minutes ago. Ball thrown back up. Tobin emerges with it. Kicks a wobbler inside the forward 50. It squirts up off a Greensborough defender. Coming through. That was a heavy collision from Bell. Maladara's in there as well. The umpire circles and says a ball up again.
Well, now the clock's becoming a real enemy for Greensborough as well, isn't it? We tick into the 18 minute of the quarter as well, and they've got to find a way to kick maybe 3 goals. 2 will only tie things. They've got to have 3 scoring shots from here, and they've only had kicked 3 behind since half time.
Yeah, they just can't find an avenue to goal at the moment. Every time they go forward, they just don't look like any chance of scoring. Whereas West Preston, when they go forward, if it's not Saad, there's guys popping up that are taking marks or looking dangerous.
So the ball now, 40 out from the West Preston goal. You think the Roosters, they're 1 goal away. If they can kick it at any time in the game, you feel like the premiership's headed back to J.E. Moore Park, as the ball now is locked up deep in the forward pocket here as Fennell's taken the ground, and we'll have yet another stoppage.
So Greensborough must feel like they're swimming against the tide now with time on about to hit. They are 2 goals in arrears and they've struggled to score really for the best part of 2.5 quarters as the ball is pushed out towards half forward again, where the fans are closing in on the terraces, the standing room around the wing on the near sides at that Cramers Street end. Everyone now peering over at the green field at Preston. Left half forward, this ball will be thrown in. Harmon jostles in the ruck with McNamara. It comes down to Valladares. Shovels out a handball to Usul, who sidesteps, kicks in the forward line. Ahmed Saad is there, so is Nick Riddle. It comes out the back door to Tilly. He's got it for the Roosters. Dances around one and the other, dribbles the kick through. Nick Riddle overran it. There's still numbers back there for Greensborough. Urkelano tried to kick off the ground, and now there's 6 or 7 green shirts back, trying to defend for their life in their own goal square. The umpire will throw it up again.
Point is huge here as well for West Preston. I know you don't want to give up possession and give it to the Borough, but we're about to tick into time on. 13 points, a massive lead.
It comes out to Fennell around the back, who might seek some respite with a long kick. He does, but it's been cut off again by Usul. The late inclusion today. He's been quiet for most of the game.
And you can see the entire bench saying, slow things down, Oscar, slow things down.
But he's coming into form in this last quarter. Been playing as a defensive forward, cutting things off across the 50. And now the chance for a potential goal. Oscar Usul, who has surprisingly been the second highest scorer this season for West Preston behind Ahmed Saad. He comes out, he veers out to his right.
Done it.
He pierces it towards goal. And Oscar Usul, he might be the hero for West Preston today. The late move made by Rob Majorana, and it could well pay off. West Preston Lakeside 8-5-53, Greensborough 5-5-35. We are into time on, and an equal game high lead of 18 points is West Preston Lakeside's.
Oscar Usul, what a timely goal. The late call up from deep in the pocket. I don't think many people thought he might have the kick in him from there, but from deep in the pocket, kicks one of the great goals, and West Preston Lakeside at 18 points in front. They're going to take some serious stopping from here, you would have thought, Jordan. They've kicked 6 unanswered goals, and Usul's effort now might be the one that clinches this year's premiership. Ball back in the middle. Clark, handball out to Haynes, thumps it on the boot. Can they find a mark? They haven't been able all day today to find one. It spills out. Johnston's moved forward. What a great tackle he's caught in. And the ball's going to be thrown up 45 out from the Greensborough goal as time ticks by. 21 and a half minutes we are now through the last term. Umpire throws it up. Reed taps it down. Comes out to, it looks like it's Fennell. Got it off to Callaway. He's a left footer. He doesn't load up when he might have been best to. Tilly's gone back. He's now caught in the tackle. Will he be pinged though? Umpire says ball it up. But the fact that Tilly's gone back now tells you West Preston knows it's all about conserving this lead now. They don't need to score any further. The Borough need to kick 3 goals in maybe 5 or so minutes.
3 goals is as big as it's been today. Game high leads. In the forward pocket, Fennell tries to wrestle clear, but he's wrapped up. The tackling pressure of West Preston Lakeside has been immense. They haven't given the Greensborough Footy Club an inch. The defence has been exemplary as well. The 3 key posts back there, Clark, McDonald, Valladares, have led wonderfully well. Ball thrown up. Reed taps it down, it bounces off hands, it comes out the way of Bell, whose kick bounces into the goal square. McCubbin was looking for a free kick. Tickle's been quiet today, but he pursues it to the pocket. Emerging with it is McDonough. Resurfacing with the footy now, West Preston Lakeside through Urkelano. Useful at half back. He squeezes out a kick to Marotta, who is outnumbered 2-1. Desmond came in, big hits, and it's spilled clear now for Urkelano. He can just buy yardage. He kicks up the boundary, it'll roll through the interchange gates, and that's a win for West Preston. Urkelano's kick sees a boundary throw-in on the wing.
And he comes up with a smirk, Urkelano. You can feel they start to sense it now, don't they, West Preston? 10 seconds shy of the 23-minute mark. They are 8-5-53, leading Greensborough 5-5-35. 18 points of difference. They've kicked the only 5 goals of this half, 6 in a row for the game, and a chance for Greensborough off half-back. Fennell, McIver, Clark, they've just got to go direct. He goes wide. Callaway, it's going to be a foot race. It's going to favour Kemp, who'd be happy to just tap this one out of bounds, which is exactly what he does, and the ball to be thrown in, far side of the ground, West Preston Lakeside. What a premiership win this would be if they go on with it. They were 0-6. They were looking at relegation, and they are now perhaps minutes away for one of the greatest premiership wins in Northern Football Netball League history.
So it'll be thrown in on the wing with time ticking away. 23 and a half minutes. Still some time left for a couple of more goals. The kick rolls towards centre half forward, but Johnston, he was outnumbered. You can feel the confidence perhaps dropping now for Greensborough. That's a good mark as well from Marotta, who out-muscled Dan McClendon. Marotta directs the kick to centre half forward, but straight down the gullet of Cataldo, who'll spread the play to the near sides. Over the shoulder, he found a teammate in Croxford, who's told to go. He shrugs one tackle, kicks long to the forward 50. Underneath it, Smith takes the mark. In fact, it's McCubbin who's back on the field heroically. He's probably broken a rib and he's on the field again. McCubbin will go quickly, spins the ball in his hands, he hurries the kick. It's a right-footed attempt. It goes to the behind line. And a great mark taken by the Rosbrook medalist, Tom Bell. Now he must do this quickly. In the right forward pockets, deep in range. Banana, goal. Perhaps a glimmer still left for Greensborough. 6-5-41 the Borough to 8-5-53 West Preston. Back to 2 goals. 24 and a half minutes expired last quarter.
So Bell kicks his second, and maybe there's still a glimmer of hope. 6-5-41 Greensborough. West Preston 8-5-53. Late in the 24th minute here, Molyneux starts on a wing. In the middle, it's going to be Clark with Bell and also with Fennell. On the opposite side of things, you can see that James Tadd is in there. So too Signorello and also Alex Federico. In the ruck, it's Reed up against Harmon. They go at it now. Harmon down, but a chance for Clark if the ball sits up. It doesn't quite. Signorello lays a good tackle, and the umpire's going to call for the ball back in the middle of the ground.
If you Mick Harford now, boys, you just got to just run and gun. You just got to go
Roll
for
the
broke.
dice.
Simple as that.
Got to risk winning the game, or sorry, risk losing to win it, don't you now? It's just about throwing numbers forward, and they're bringing more numbers up to the contest here. Ball in the middle, and a big tackle laid. That time there, it's by Cataldo, and it's on Luke LaRossi. He's kicked 3 goals today. He's been one of the heroes for West Preston. Ball back in the centre circle.
Greensborough led by 2 goals at both quarter time and half time, and it was level coming into this term. Hacked off the ground towards centre half forward for Greensborough. Getting back there, in fact it was West Preston Lakeside, I beg your pardon. Sard is there. Croxford back though for Greensborough. He wins back possession. Fennell has it, plays on and kicks long down the wing. Underneath it, McCubbin comes charging. Valadares flew, couldn't hold the mark. Dreer slammed in the tackle on the wing. The umpire will come in and he'll throw it up. The first quarter went 28 and a half minutes. The second went 26. The third went 26. And here we are at 26-15. On the wing, ball thrown back up again. Reed taps it out the back. Fennell pursues it. His kick slews off the side of the boots. Urcolano's there. McDonough. Dreer fell behind play. McDonough kicks long to centre half forward. Sard's been well worn today by Riddle. In comes McIver Clark. He tries to scoot away from Sard, who got a hand to the side. Sard comes in. He tries to break a tackle. Loops it over to Vincentorio by hand. Signorello, he's kicked it off the instep. It rolls into the corner. Usa will take it. He gathers. He turns. He shanks a kick to the top of the goal square, and getting back and taking the defensive mark is the ruckman Liam Reed.
And he goes straight down the middle to Molyneux. They've got numbers out. If he can turn quickly, he's got to get back off his mark. Molyneux goes through the corridor. It's a chip ball, but it's over Panham's head. And now Dreyer can pick it up. He can loop a handball wide. That might have been Greensborough's chance on that one, on that occasion there. High ball towards half forward for West Preston's, ending up out of bounds on the full. It's going to be a Greensborough restart through Josh Callaway, far side of the ground. 27 minutes have gone now, and it's Greensborough 41, West Preston 53.
They have to go. They have to go. 2 goals in arrears. High kick from Callaway up to the wing. Tilly committed himself but couldn't hold the mark.
Tackle.
A great tackle laid. And there's the siren. Back to back for the first time in a decade. West Preston Lakeside have caused the upsets. Fans, players streaming onto Preston City Oval. And there's a new super coach in the north. Rob Majorana is a Roosters legend. Final scores at Preston City Oval. Greensborough 6-5-41. West Preston Lakeside 8-5-53. West Preston Lakeside for the second time running are premiers. And this year it's by 12 points.
Well, we thought last year's was a great premiership win. They were at round 12, 6-6 in 6th spot on the ladder. They've done it again. Norton 6 they were this year. They were last. They were talked about as perhaps being relegated. The reigning premiers, we couldn't believe the situation they found themselves in. They've gone on one of the great streaks. 14 wins from their last 16 starts, 4 consecutive finals, and as you say, Rob Majorana and his side, they've etched themselves in history. Has there been a better story to win a premiership than a side at Norton 6? No one's played finals from Norton 6, West Preston Lakeside. Not only have they won the flag, they've defended a premiership. No one's done that since 2009. You couldn't write a better script for the football club. This is an amazing win, and it's going to hurt for Greensborough. There's no doubt about it. We'll cross straight down now to Jared Gardner.
I'll just give him a second. Rob Majorana just embracing a few family members. Rob, congratulations. the second premiership in a row, coming back from 0-6. Where does this one rank compared to last year?
I'm just genuinely proud of the boys and the whole club. I've been repeating myself all month, but the fight in these boys, the love they have and the spirit to get over the line and beat a side that was just outstanding all year, just huge.
And as we said, 0-6 to start the season. What do you do to get the boys up and about and to get them going into? Was there something that changed around the club? Do you just stick to what you know, or what was it that changed from the start of the season to now?
No, not a lot changed. You just got to persist in those situations, and you got to believe. Instill confidence back into the group, and slowly it turn. You don't lose your talent overnight. Yes, we had some challenges with availability, but we just stuck to our process. We honed it, we improved it, and we just all made a pact to make sure that we go as far as we can, and we just took it one game at a time, and it was just elimination finals for about 14-15 weeks straight.
And I know in the rooms after the games, after all these finals, you've had those boxes that you've been wanting to tick, and Michael Ercolano's been the one ticking those boxes. It's going to be a great feeling to tick that final box now.
I tell you, the roof's going to come off that grandstand, I reckon, in about 20 minutes.
Well, congratulations. I'll let you go enjoy it.
Great work there from Jared Gardner. Rob, you watched the game from ground level. You just sensed the tide start to turn when late in that second term, they weren't scoring, but they were getting the game back on their terms, and then Mitch Tobin kicked that goal before half-time. You could just sense the Roosters at half-time thought they were a real chance, and from 2 goals down, they've gone on to win by 2 goals, one of the great wins, but you just felt something special happening down there.
Yeah, you felt that the tide starting to turn late in that second quarter especially, and in that third quarter they held Greensborough sway. So it's unbelievable, like we've mentioned it 100 times, but 0-6, you couldn't write a better script. And I thought in that third quarter, the fact that Greensborough couldn't get the ascendancy on top of West Preston, they really started to struggle. And even at three-quarter time huddle, I was right in amongst it. They were super confident, Nick Harford, but you just felt that West Preston were just slowly grinding away at Greensborough. And it happens just about every year in the NFNL. The side that finishes top of the ladder doesn't end up winning the grand final, and it's unfortunate for Greensborough because they've had such a fantastic year.
And we'll go now down to Jared Gardner as the rain starts to tumble at Preston City Oval.
Yeah, guys, rain started coming down here, but I'm here with Luke LaRossi. Luke, an absolutely amazing performance from the side, and yourself to kick 3 goals in a grand final effort. Must be a great feeling at the moment.
Oh, mate, unbelievable. Absolutely speechless from where we came from, 0-6, start of the year, to even getting into the finals, let alone getting to the big dance and winning it. Absolutely incredible.
And as you said, 0-6 at the start of the season. I spoke to Rob Majorana a few minutes ago. Said that you guys just stuck to your structures and you kept going, kept that belief going. How do you, as one of the leaders of the club, how do you keep that belief among the playing group?
We knew we were good enough. We just had a bad start and we just had to keep together as a group. Instead of everyone imploding, everyone just got together, knew what we were doing wrong, fixed them, and the results started coming.
And you've won 7 straight games here at Preston City Oval. You love it out here, the West Preston Footy Club. It's just, it's a bit of a fortress for you guys now.
Yeah, well, first final we lost 3 years ago. Haven't been there for a while, and then last year we lost the first one again, so we thought it was a bad omen, and then we're just going bang, bang, bang.
Well, congratulations. Go enjoy it.
Great work by Jared Gardner. Boys, we've talked about the winners as we deservingly should, but for Greensborough, 18 wins coming here today. They're only lost by 2 points, and they just couldn't get the job done on the big stage, unfortunately, for the Borough.
And the key today was closing down Tom Bell. He barely had an inch today, and not just Tom Bell, but other key midfielders as well, but it was especially noticeable with Tom Bell. They had 3 players hanging off him at all times. He couldn't get himself free. He couldn't find a target in the forward line. And then also the job that the defence did for West Preston Lakeside, just cutting off all options that Greensborough had, any option that they might have had, any plan B that they possibly had. It was all blanketed so well by that West Preston Lakeside defence, and that's what won them the game today. And they found their niche. West Preston Lakeside last season 6-6 to start the season, Rob. They came back, they were dominant second half of the season. Just blitzed everyone on Preston City Oval, and then again, similar this season, 0-6 to start, and their form on Preston City Oval is magnificent. They've found their niche, haven't they?
It's really a home away from home for West Preston. They're just so well drilled, even through their 2s and also seniors over the last decade or so. I've watched plenty of NFNL football, and they've just got such a great program down there at J.M. Walk Park. And I thought a massive in for them today was also Signorello. I thought his influence, he obviously was listed by the Adelaide Crows when he was a little bit younger, but yeah, he had a massive influence on this contest today.
Jared Gardner on the ground again.
Yeah, guys, I've got Oscar Usul here. Oscar, you were the late omission last year. You succumbed to injury at the last day, and today you're the late in and kicked the final goal to seal a premiership victory. How does that one feel?
Yeah, I know last year I pulled my hammy, couldn't play it, but this year from suspension came in, got my chance, and I pretty much just took it in that last minute, so it was pretty good. It felt so good, you know, it was different, but yeah.
What goes through your mind when you got that ball 40 metres out from goal, you got that kick at goal? Is there any doubt that comes into your mind?
To be honest, I was about to pass it off. I don't know if you realised, but then I'm like, nah, I'm going to go take a shot, and he just went straight through, and so it felt so good.
Yeah, it's been an amazing ride at this club this year, and you get to tick that final box off. It's going to be a great feeling in the rooms afterwards.
Oh, mate, it's going to be an absolutely, it's going to be a night of a night, man. I'm telling you, it's going to be pretty good. So, see how we go.
Well, the medal presentations are about to start. I'll let you go get to it.
Oscar Usul there, and he is a story, isn't he? He missed last season's premiership, West Preston Lakeside. He played all the finals. He was came into the finals under an injury cloud, that hamstring, and he just couldn't make the grand final last season. Today he came in, he was late omission, not named during the week. Maybe Rob Majorana trying to pull a sneaky one. But he was named late for Daniel Valeri, and now he wins a premiership. Jared Gardner down there on ground level again.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I can have your attention, please. We will commence the medal presentation for the 2019 Meadows Greyhounds Division 1 Grand Final. On behalf of the Northern Football Netball League, I'd like to congratulate both sides on reaching today's Grand Final, and we congratulate West Preston Lakeside on your premiership success. We now begin the official proceedings, and I'd like to welcome NFNL Board Director Jeff Parks to the stage to present the medallions, and we begin with our officiating umpires. Our field umpires, Nathan Thornycroft, Andrew O'Neill, and Chris Stead. Damien Petrucci, Charlie Scott, and Adam Taranto. Our goal umpires, Philip Pettinella and Alan Webb. We now announce the best on-ground medallion, as adjudged by the field umpires, to number 2 of West Preston Lakeside, Luke LaRossi.
And there you go. Luke LaRossi is the best player on the grounds for this grand final. He kicked 3 second-half goals. He kicked 2 goals in the last quarter, and his goals in the last quarter was effectively what won West Preston Lakeside the game.
I'd like to now call to the stage Mick Harford, coach of the Greensborough Football Club, to say a few words.
So Mick Harford makes his way to the stage. Here he is, the Greensborough.
Thanks, Sam. Just on behalf of the Greensborough Footy Club, I want to thank the NFNL and all the sponsors for another terrific year. The number 1 competition in the state, and it's a very well-run competition, so we thank you for your effort. The umpires today, thank you very much. It's always a difficult task in any game, and we thank NFNL for the quality of umpires we have. To Rob's guys, unbelievable. You know, one of us was going to write history today, and for you guys, fantastic result. So from 0-6 to premiership's an amazing thing, and you've got a great leader in Robbie there, so congratulations to you guys. And to our guys, you know, yeah, it's going to hurt us for a long time, but I couldn't be proud of every one of you. You've had a huge impact in my life, and I love every one of you for your effort and the human beings that you are, and we'll be bigger and better for this. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Mick, and again, congratulations to Greensborough on reaching today's grand final. We now present the medallions to the players of West Preston Lakeside, and we begin with number 2, Luke LaRossi.
What a game Luca Rossi had. Rob, there was the game winner in that last quarter. Scored the 3 goals for the game, 2 goals.
Number 3, Mitchell Crapper.
Ian Crapper, he's been a fantastic player for West all year, back-to-back, and it's going to be...
Number 5, Oscar Usul.
Oscar Usul, probably one of the stories of this premiership. Missed last season, but came back. Late inclusion today.
Number 7, Matt Vincitorio.
Yeah, obviously, Matty Vincitorio adds to his 2018 flag. Obviously, great player. And
Number 8, Garrett McDonough.
Garrett McDonough, booming kick from half-back. He is central to how this West Preston Lakeside team play.
Number 11, Jackson Clark.
Been a key defender in 2018, 2019, and at the age of 22 is a back-to-back
Number 12,
flag winner.
Alex Federico.
Alex Federico's had a breakout season this year. He turned into a bit-part player last year, and he's been a key midfielder this season.
Number 15, Neil Costanzo.
Beat huge Costanzo, Northern Blues player, so he's familiar with Preston City.
Number 18, Aidan Tilley.
Aidan Tilley's one of the barometers of the team. He can swing both forward and back and has had a great
Number 20, Michael Urcolano.
Goes back-to-back, Michael Urcolano, ex-Coburg VFL player, and he's contributed with 5 goals.
Number 23, Nicholas Kemp.
Nicholas Kemp came from the Neefle with Gold Coast. He scored this.
Number 25, Matt Harmon.
Matty Harmon played a pivotal role in the ruck, ex-Northern Blues player, and he's become a premiership star.
Number 26, Matt Signorello.
Only played the 7 games this season. Matt Signorello, former Adelaide AFL player, Port Melbourne VFL player, and brought in today to win West Preston the game.
Number 27, Nick Raportala.
Raportala, former Coburg player, and now becomes a West Preston premiership star.
Number 29, Makul Zakua.
Zakua has been the defensive midfielder of the team, a great clearance player, and a key.
Number 30, Mitch Tobin.
Mitch Tobin played an absolutely ripping role today as a defender and on the wing, and adds to his
Number
38
38, James Tadd.
James Tadd, the tagger of the tagger of the team, an unsung hero of this midfield.
Number 42, Max Dreyer.
Max Dreyer, he's played beautifully off the halfback all year.
Number 44, Joel McDonald.
And Joel McDonald, the ex-captain, the leader in defence, the 32-year-old oldest player in the lineup. He was
number 51, Michael Marotta.
Marotta, Collingwood listed VFL player, played 52
The
games for
co-captains,
Dalston.
number 16,
Nathan
Valladares.
Nathan Valladares, one of the co-captains, another one of those rocks in defence, and he covered
And number
everything.
21, Ahmed Saad.
Ahmed Saad, former St Kilda player. He won the leading goal kicking award in 2019.
And the coach, Rob Majorana.
Superstar of the NFNL.
And now Rob Majorana makes his way to the stage, a 2-time premiership winning coach. He's broken, I guess, a sort of a drought in the NFNL of teams not being able to go back-to-back. He's become the first to do it since Heidelberg did the 4-peat between 2006 to 2009. And he's about to say a few words on the stage now.
Firstly, thanks to Greensborough Football Club, a really strong, proud club with a long history and been the best team all year, no doubt about it. So to Mick and Tom and the rest of the team, fantastic effort. I know someone's got to lose on the day, but the year you guys have had has been outstanding, so I'm sure we'll be back bigger and better next year. So well done to your organisation. To the NFNL for putting on the day. Another successful year. The competition's so tight and so even. That's what makes these types of victories so special, because you've got 10 quality teams and it's competitive each and every week. So to get this result's outstanding, but thanks to the umpires, the major sponsors of the competition, to the West Preston supporters, members, sponsors that have come out today. Thanks for your support all year. To our support staff, coaches, volunteers, an unbelievable amount of work goes into running a local football club, many voluntary hours, and we're so pleased, happy and proud that you continue to support us and run our club in a great way. So thanks to the whole football club. To the boys, I couldn't be prouder of your efforts today. From where we've come from, just kept believing, continue to build momentum, and we just got on a roll there, and to finish off with a victory today is still a little bit of shock, but I'm sure we're going to celebrate long and hard to the hours tonight. So thanks very much to everyone. Hope you have a great night.
And it's our great pleasure to welcome Ash Baker from the Meadows to present the 2019 Meadows Greyhounds Division 1 Premiership Cup to West Preston Lakeside.
So Rob Majorana, flanked by Nathan Valadares and Ahmed Sards, receive the Premiership Cup. They stand there, they hold it aloft. And the roar of the West Preston crowd and the players alike as the players stream to the dais. And these, like last year, will be memories that are hung up around J.E. Moore Park and remembered by everyone associated with the Roosters team, both from the old days, from the West Preston Reservoir Lakeside merger and into the new era when they merged in 1998. And this club now, under the West Preston Lakeside banner, have now won 4 premierships, and they've gone back to back. And the Greensborough team make their way off the field now. Faces long and drawn, and that's 2 losses now for today for Greensborough. They lost the reserves grand final earlier to Bundoora, and now the seniors against West Preston Lakeside. So the story of the game, Robert, Greensborough led by 12 points at quarter time. It was West Preston Lakeside who got off to a 2-goal to nothing start. Greensborough brought it back. They led by 12 at halftime as well. Scores were level at 3-quarter time, and then West Preston Lakeside scored 3 goals to 1 in the last quarter to win by 12 points. Goal scorers for the day, Luke LaRossi had 3, 2 goals for Ahmed Sard, and singles for Oscar Usul, Alex Federico, Mitch Tobin, and singles all around for Greensborough, Callaway, Molyneux, Fennell, Tom Bell, and also Matthew Haynes.
Guys, I'm just down here with Aidan Tilley. Aidan, a second premiership in a row. How does that one feel?
I think it's a lot better than last year. I don't know, from where we come from to where we are now, it's just it's an unreal feeling. Everyone put us in doubt at the start of the year. Talks of relegation, but we showed them, and I have no doubt in my mind that both us and Greensborough will be back next year, and I can't wait to do it all over again.
And I don't know if you realise this, but you haven't lost the game for West Preston in 2019. A bit of a barometer for the side.
I wouldn't say that. I think I just came in at the right time. The boys started clicking when I came back, but yeah, we got to a rough start with injuries and players with VFL commitments, but we all came together at the right time of the year, and as Robbie said, all finals, you don't have to be the best team in the year, you just got to be the best team in September, and I think that's what happened. And
your role today, when you were kicking into the wind, you were up forward. In that second quarter, when you were kicking against it, you were thrown down back. Is a bit of a different role for you?
Sort of, not really. I've sort of had to do that all year, but yeah, I don't know. We just do what Robbie tells me, and he calls the shots, and luckily today that was a good call, and yeah.
Well, congratulations, and go enjoy it.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, mate.
So, boys, yeah, fantastic interview there, Jared. And look, on the flip side of things, Greensborough, what football means to people. Vic Harford, his wife and his kids just came up to him. He was in tears, and they just gave him a huge hug. So, it just goes to show what football at the local level and also at the senior level means to people. Win, lose or draw, it's an emotional game.
Samuel Zeta, you've just raced back up from ground level. You were right there amongst the crazy West Preston Lakeside fans and the players as well. What did you do? Did it hit you in the face, the emotion down there?
It nearly did it. And on grand final day, there's always contrasting emotions, but I can't recall more contrasting. I know McLeod had lost 3 grand finals in a row, but today I think West Preston, self-confessed underdogs. I don't think they were just saying it because they were trying to put more pressure on their opposition. I think they genuinely believed that they had to be at their absolute best to have any chance, and they probably needed their opponent to be less than better. But for me, this grand final win is all about West Preston. They were immense. Their midfield, the amount of pressure they applied on Greensborough. Throughout the course of the year, sides have not been able to stop this Greensborough midfield. They're powerful. They just can't stop them. But today, they just couldn't get any clean stoppages or clean clearances, and that came back to the work in tight from the West Preston Lakeside midfield. They made it a real arm wrestle. It played on their terms, and they had a deserving premier. And really, it has to be said, as the game went on, they were getting better, weren't they? Yeah. The longer it went, the more they were probably going to stretch out by. I know Greensborough kicked the last goal, but it really felt like that Greensborough had no response to West Preston Lakeside, probably from the midway point of the second quarter.
Really feels like Rob Majorana really probably tactically outworked Greensborough just on the coaching basis. Like just some of the moves he was making, I just noticed little changes throughout the games. He was swinging forwards through to the backs, just constant midfield changes. And as you mentioned before, Geordie, the constant pressure on Tom Bell, he could not have the same kind of influence that he had throughout the year. Rosbrook medalist, he was really well held today. And some of these moves through Oscar Usual coming in late, and also Signorello, we mentioned him before, the AFL listed player. But what a game, as we mentioned, Luca Rossi, BOG for the day.
Yeah.
3 goals. He kicked a couple in that last quarter. And, yeah, it's just an amazing feat from 0 and 6.
They really needed those ins, didn't they? Signorello and Oscar Usual. I mean, I'm sure...
Oh, they were telling.
The system, I'm sure, was already in place. Rob Majorana, regardless of the personnel he had in the 22, his system would have been already worked out on how to stop Greensborough. But having Signorello and Usual in there to execute it and then use the ball going back the other way was huge. And that just added to the class of their midfield. Their midfield already last week wasn't bad, but you add Signorello and Usual to it and you go, oh, that's an elite-looking midfield now. You've got those extra guys in. You've got now 5 or 6 players in that midfield who you can class as A-grade or top talent in the NFNL when you add those 2 players in there, and they were crucial. But for me, I was really impressed, and I've already spoken about it, but their defence, those back 3 players, Jackson Clark, Joel McDonald, who I thought was excellent today, and also Nathan Balladara as a captain, they are the bedrock of West Preston Lakeside and how they play their game. And there was just no clear space. There was no contested mark. There was no aerial grabs. It was hard in the Greensborough forward 50. There was no ground ball crumbing forward plays. There was nothing like that because it was all stopped by the defence of the Roosters, who read everything and blanketed everything, and it was down to those 3 players who were leading that charge from the back.
Yeah, certainly. And another one to add into there, I thought Garrett McDonough, he's had a fantastic final series, but I thought even though he didn't get the usual amount of ball he did today, I thought when he did get the ball, just those booming left kicks, they really set up West Preston going forward. And when Ahmed Sadi was one out with Nick Riddle in that forward line and the ball was going over the back, it really worried the Greensborough defence all day. And McDonough just has that ability, whether he gets sort of 5 touches or 25 touches, to really break the lines and really set the forward line up for West Preston.
We go back down to Jared Gardner, ground level.
Yeah, guys, I've got the West Preston ruckman, Matty Harmon. Matt, you had a long year, but you finally, it all pays off in the end. You get a premiership victory.
Oh, mate, it's unreal. As you just see, all the boys love it. It means so much to so many people, and it's stoked. We're 0-6 and we've won a flag, mate. It's unreal.
And you've done a job this final series. You've been the number 1 ruck. You've gone up against some of the best rucks in the competition. How has this final series been for you?
Oh, look, I sort of know, I'm young and I'm skinny. I haven't played a heap of senior footy. I just got to, work my ass off, but just battle and go into them. It's really good. I know it's really good to learn off blokes like Sammy Gilmore and Reed today. They're all good footballers in their own right. So just try and compete, bring the ball to ground and see what happens, mate.
And what were you able to learn from Mark Kovacevic? Obviously, he was the best on ground in last year's victory. What have you been able to learn from him this year?
Look, I cannot speak highly enough of how Covers conducted himself. Obviously, it's pretty hard being injured and missing out when he would obviously be playing to be the number 1 ruckman, but his instruction and development, his positivity has been amazing. He hasn't sooked out or anything. He's just sort of constantly positive and telling us what to do. And sorry, I'm probably not making a lot of sense right now, mate. But, yeah.
No, I think we can let you go.
As we hear from Matt Harmon there, who has been an important part of this side, it has to be said, who really, he come in and he had to do a big job, and he's done that because we thought that was maybe the one weakness they could have had was in the ruck. When you look at some of the sides in the finals, Gilmore, Florence Reed and McNamara as a dual combination, but he stood up in 4 consecutive finals. How have they done it this year? I'm still trying to get my head around it.
And they won from 4th position too. They were 4th on the ladder too when they came in. Matthew Harmon's been great. To replace Mark Kovacevic is a hard thing to do. Mark Kovacevic, in the space of 1 season last year, easily announced himself as one of the best ruckmen in the competition, and Harmon's had to fill that breach with Kovacevic's injury this season. But he did well. We gave him best on ground last week in the prelim final. Look, it probably helped that the opposite number, Liam Reid, isn't a dominant ruckman either. He's not a around the grounds all bases covered sort of ruckman. So from that perspective, I'm sure it was slightly easier, but still he's been a big part of this team and performed really well.
Jared Gardner's working overtime downstairs. You got another one, Jared?
Yeah, guys, I've got one of the co-captains, Nathan Balladara. Nathan, you obviously hurt yourself in the middle of that game, but it all must feel good now with the premiership victory.
Oh, yeah. Can't feel it all at the moment, so
And how was that game for you? Obviously, such a tough opponent in Greensborough. They've obviously been a benchmark in Division 1 this season. How do you get the confidence as one of the leaders of the group? How do you get the confidence around the group to know you can beat this side?
Obviously, we didn't start the year well, 0-6. But once we started getting those games rolling, we got a couple of key players back. And that belief just started building the whole year. So we just kept building the whole year leading in today. And we had a good, tough contest last week. Well, we thought we didn't play that great. So we knew today, if we could stay in the game, we would be able to grind it out. So.
And a guy like Luke LaRossi, he pops up, kicks 3 goals, 2 very important ones. How is he for the group?
Oh, he's just a warrior, mate. He just keeps going all day. One of the smallest blokes on the ground. And he just puts his hand up every week.
Well, congratulations. Go enjoy it.
Lowest scoring grand final score as well for West Preston Lakeside in a grand final. Yeah, the previous was 10-12-72, and today was 8-5-53, so by almost 20 points.
Talk about moments in games. That Mitch Tobin goal before half time, that was the one where they'd slow the momentum down. I talked about it right after the siren sounded, but they had slowed the momentum down, but they needed that goal, didn't they? 3 goals is still a massive hurdle at three-quarter time, but that goal really gave them the belief, in my opinion.
Well, it goes, yeah, as you say, it goes from a 17-point ball game to an 11-point ball game at half time. And I did speak to Rob Majorana at half time, and you could tell in his eyes he sensed that.
He mentioned it too, didn't he?
He did. He could sense that confidence, and he said it was basically evenly poised at that stage of the game, halfway point of the game. And you could just sense that the tide was turning slightly, but ever so surely. And to their credit, they really revved up after half time, got their game going off the half back, and they just really suffocated Greensborough from getting any sort of continuity within their own game that we know and we've seen them play all year.
Do you reckon slowing the game down and playing defensively in the second quarter, do you reckon that was a plan B from Rob Majorana? It wouldn't have been the main plan was to say we're going to play like this all day, but if Greensborough get away, and they probably felt that Greensborough were getting away at quarter time and they scored 4 goals in a row, then we start to slow the game down and congest it.
I think it was the game sense that the way the game being played, Greensborough's last 10 minutes of the first term and start to the second, they were dictating terms. They were getting out in the wide and getting the ball in quickly, and a few goals from free kicks, but defenders were panicking one-on-one. I think it was just take the momentum away from them, slow things down, and then when no one scored for 10 minutes, that's a win for West Preston. Even if the scoreboard doesn't change, the damage hasn't got any worse, and then all of a sudden you get 1, and we saw that today. 1 became 2, and slowly, but 2 then became 3 and 4, and you look at after half-time, boys, or really from when Ben Fennell kicked that goal at the 4-minute mark of the second term, Greensborough was then 5-1-31. From that point on, 4-minute mark of the second term, Greensborough, the highest scoring team of the season, kicked 1 goal 4 from the 4-minute mark of the second term, as opposed to West Preston Lakeside, who kicked 6-4, which isn't much, but when you concede 1-4 from that point of the game, you're probably going to win the match, aren't you?
Yeah, so this was their lowest score for the season as well.
Yeah, and I'd imagine comfortably as well.
By a few points. So when they lost to Heidelberg, it was 6-9-45.
And remembering that day, absolute bulk that day.
Yeah.
That was played in a swamp.
Yeah, and today was 4 points less. So.
Well, they're going into the room, boys, so I reckon you're going to hear one of the biggest renditions, and we have to say credit to Rob throughout the day to get the interviews that you have, but also to Jared Gardner, who's done a mountain of work, and it's certainly much easier from our point of view when we get direct access to the players rather than having to get them here, just to hear the raw emotion. I love that interview from Matt Harmon.
Yeah.
He didn't speak well. I thought he was fantastic. He was raw and honest, but I reckon you're going to hear one of the great renditions of the West Preston Lakeside song in a few moments' time, and look who's carrying the cup into the room, none other than Luke LaRossi. If he's not the most underrated player in the comp, well, whoever he is equal with him, because the game he played today, 3 goals, and now premiership player twice, West Preston, premiership player at Epping team of the century member, and his best on ground game final. Let's hear him sing it. If the roof comes off, they've ticked the border, I imagine, as well.
Push your way in there.
West Preston Lakeside are the back-to-back premiers in Meadows Greyhounds Division 1. Boys from Norton 6 will be talking about this one forever and a day, I would likely imagine. And with that, another season goes by. Where has it all gone? How quickly it's all gone. It felt like yesterday you're out at Old Eltham Collegians calling their first game of the year. What a year it's been. Congratulations to all the premiership winners throughout the football and netball competition. We've seen some amazing grand finals in the senior men's competitions. We thank everyone who's been a part of our broadcasts throughout the year listening in. We hope you've enjoyed the call. Thank yous on my behalf from the Northern Football Netball League. Firstly, in the studio, one of our unsung heroes, Perry Masouris, who does all the panel operating from Plenty Valley FM. We've appreciated all your support throughout the year. To our callers, Jordan Canellis signing off with the Northern Football Netball League today. You've done a mountain of work over 8 years with the league. It's been an absolute joy to call with you. Obviously, you've had limited ability to call with us this year with your work commitments, but we really appreciate you joining us in the final series and coming back and making the time. We, from the from the bottom of our heart, we really appreciate the work you've provided to us. So we hope you've enjoyed the experience along the way, and bigger and better things now await for you.
Absolutely, yeah. Hopefully so. I'm happy to bide my time, but the NFNL and 88.6 Plenty Valley FM have been a great base for me. It's where I got my start, and any young person out there, or even old person who wants to get a start in broadcasting, is this is one of the best places to come to, Plenty Valley FM. And if you want to call footy, there's no better place than the Northern Football Netball League, because they'll give you an opportunity. Samuel doesn't bite. He's a good guy to work with, and you get great footy as well. And we saw that today. The NFNL is one of the best standards of football going around. So I can only say thank you to you, Samuel, and those at the NFNL, and before that, those at Plenty Valley FM who were great to me when I started out as a 15-year-old.
We also thank Tom Flanagan, who supported throughout the year, Nicholas Sacco, who was not here today, and Ben Pascuzzi, Doug Long, all those who have supported us. Jared Gardner, who's just come back, who's absolutely drenched in beer and smelling like it too. Jared, you've been an absolute star, stepping up this year and taking on a bigger role with us throughout the broadcast, taking on play-by-play commentary as well. You've done a mountain of work right throughout the year, also in the podcast as well. Thanks, Jordan and Rob, as well. Thank you for your support and effort throughout the year, Jared. Really appreciate and hope you've got a kick out of it.
Yeah, it's been an amazing year and capped off with one of the great grand finals. So happy to be here and happy to have another year with the NFNL.
And Robert Winston as well. Welcome to the team this year. You've been a great asset to us throughout the year, and we look forward to you continuing on going forward.
Yeah, certainly, Sam. As you mentioned, Jordan, you got your start at 15, and you're obviously moving to bigger and better things. At SEN, congratulations on your career at the NFNL. And I would say to anyone who wants to get into broadcasting, you said young or old, I started at 30, so I'm 31 now. And it's been a great experience. You're not going to get a better apprenticeship in sports broadcasting. And obviously, if you love local football or just the game of football, Aussie rules, it's been an absolutely cracking experience of a year. And I truly appreciate, Samuel, everything that you do for me. And I can't wait for bigger and better things in 2020 and beyond, mate.
Big thank you to you, Samuel, as well. Every year your workload gets heavier and heavier. There's more divisions. There's more women's footy divisions, more netball divisions. The seniors in the men's footy always gets bigger to deal with. There's always more publicity and more former AFL players who bring down more publicity as well. But at least the footy's great as well. So that makes it
when
better.
you have a grand final like that, it's all worth it. So thank you again to all of the listeners and everyone who supports the Northern Football Netball League. Without you, we don't have a competition. The players put on the show, but we need everyone who supports us along the way. So we hope you've enjoyed the coverage throughout 2019. We'll be back in 6 months, and it can't come soon enough, so bring it on. Thanks again to everyone. You've been listening to the 2019 Meadows Greyhounds Division 1 Grand Final. West Preston Lakeside, the premiers. As always, get to nfnl.org.au for everything from around the Northern Football Netball League. You can buy your copy of today's game. There'll be match reports and everything that you can expect from there. But until 2020, you've been listening to the NFNL Match of the Day on your local station, 88.6 Plenty Valley FM.